umbrella is umbrellaed under patriarchy is like the backtracking thought process. So, because we're supposed to just monetize everything, right? All of our time needs to be traded for some sort of skill set that's going to give us money so that we can like afford to live in our dwellings. So, that's my short answer. But I know Elise is going to have a lot of really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, we all are. Kayla, you specifically.
Yeah.
I feel like you've helped me articulate a lot of this over the past couple of years, so thank you for that. But I just maybe it's just because I talk more, Rudy. I don't know, but
No,
You
okay.
practice a lot talking to
Yeah.
groups. Yeah.
fucking
I
the
just rant and
patriarchy.
get like pissed off, and I'm like, I gotta try to keep it under wraps right now because it's like not like just my trigger talking. I'm actually being effective in what I'm communicating. So, yeah, that's my challenge.
um,
Interesting trigger.
Okay, so it's taken me a long time to articulate this. You know, even whenever I first became a feminist, which now I've evolved beyond being a feminist. I've learned the patriarchy is already, co-opted all of that. But that like the term the patriarchy is like a much higher overarching term that encapsulates a lot more. Just as Kayla said, like that part right there I think is the hardest part to understand, because like when you think about oppression or you think about hate, we always like silo it. It's like, oh well, we've got the sexism over here, we've got the racism over here, we've got the classism over here. And at the end of the day, it's all fueled by just one thing, which is patriarchy. And it's kind of confusing that you'd say like, well, why is it the men? Like, why is it the unbalance between men and women that's the cause for all of these other issues that are economic or environmental or other societal issues? I don't know exactly that, but like, okay, so I'm looking at the dictionary because that's what I like to do for patriarchy, right? A system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family and descent is traced through the male line, right? I don't think that definition encapsulates it, but that is the patriarchy. A system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. See, this I think would make much more sense. It's like, it's almost as if sexism is like the OG. It's like the OG oppression. And like the entire like ideology of hate and the entire like culture of it kind of started from that. Like that was the original, you know. I maybe that's it. Maybe that's why, like so many people are kind of umbrelling like the supremacy, any kind of supremacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was more towards like animals, because there was a time in human history where we lived within matriarchal societies.
Thank you, because I wanted to put that thing in the conversation, but thank you
Yeah,
for saying that because this is really interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know, there's layers of it. There's like patriarchy in the sense of there's a patriarchy and a matriarchy. There's like the
Hmm.
patriarch of the family, there's the matriarch of the family, like the
Absolutely.
grandfather, the grandmother. And
Mm-hmm.
even that definition that said a society based on men is like really that definition is embodying white men. It's like there's all this other oppression that's happening. Like I'm doing this like copywriting challenge and all of these ads written from like 1950s and they're just like clearly written by white men and only including white men. And although it's like overtly like sexist, it's also like really really supreme over race. Like so it's interesting that even the definition in the dictionary is like a society of men, like that's empowered by men over women, because there's more to it than that. Um, and I don't feel like that definition really fully embodies like what we're talking about, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So how is patriarchy, or how is this like imbalance between men and women responsible for capitalism or conventional capitalism? I'm always careful about that because I'm actually pro-capitalist, but I just think
Mm-hmm.
the current, culture in capitalism is what's fucked up, but is like, why is that? I don't, it's just the idea of supremacy, just the overarching idea of supremacy, of like someone having the ability of being more important than someone else, like that lack of humility, right? Like, it's almost, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's the OG one. I mean, if you look at the Constitution and like whose rights got addressed first, like when did we all finally get, I mean, I know we're not there, we still have a lot of systemic problems going on, but like the official amendments that were written that finally addressed everybody's rights, who got the last right to vote? Women. Like women were like the last one in line to get their rights, which, is kind of interesting. But like when I was doing research on anthropocentrism, which is
Whoa.
like where
define this word for me.
So anthro means human.
Yeah.
And then centricism is like centric, in the center. So anthropocentrism is like the ideology that like humans are the center of the world. Humans are the most important. Humans have priority, right? And if you look at different philosophers that have talked about this concept, and then even like activists that talk about this concept, it's all like racism, sexism is all boiled down to this concept of anthropocentrism. So like it's just the concept of thinking that you could have any kind of supreme position over somebody or something else.
Like land or crops or animals, like you were saying earlier. Like how humans were above animals. Is that what you were saying? I didn't articulate it as well.
Yeah. But hey, we always weren't like that. Like when we were in matriarch societies, like we weren't like that. Like indigenous communities, like they don't think that way. And actually it has been boiled down to one word that's located in the Old Testament of dominion. And it's like that ideology has spread. And like the first, Jeremy was the one that taught us this. It's too bad he's not here. He could talk about it, but he said like the first act of like major anthropocentrism that actually affected an ecosystem or affected, something else was during the Renaissance, the beginning of the humanism period, which we're currently head deep in humanism, like, that humans are prime and the most important and reasonable beings in the world and the universe. It was like a canal that was built or a dam that was built in like Torrance in Italy. And like that's known by philosophers to be the first act of man that showcases. I mean, we do this fucking shit all the time now, like every day. Like even us as individuals are doing things, have the capacity to do things that can drastically affect an environment, like societies prior to that, like they may have created waste or they may have done things like, but it's such a small scale. It's like, and most societies thought about their environment equally as they thought about their families or themselves. I don't know. I know I'm making a big claim there, but that's what I heard.
I dig it.
Yeah. So fuck the patriarchy.
So in summary, fuck the patriarchy. I'm interested to hear, Rudy, I feel like you have things you want to say. And I'm also interested in Elisa's perspective on that question you asked about, or you started to talk about capitalism.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in both of those things, but I think maybe first I'm curious to know, Rudy, what you're feeling.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think I'm gonna take an example that is really interesting between the relationship, the relationship and the connection between men and women, which is really interesting because we are now in a situation to how to say that. I think I'm gonna take an example of a famous singer which name is Grace Jones, that was interviewed in Montreal since 10 years, I guess, about feminism. and she answered to the journalist. She said, "Look, um, it's not a male female thing. I mean, the all the issues we got together, it's all about power." And I think there is a difference between supremacy and power, which is really interesting what you said, Elise, because supremacy, it's related to other things, to other perception about human, the relationship between power instead, because um, if we stick around that word, uh, based to the relationship between with Earth and ecosystem, and this is the same issue. We got an issue between men and women because of power. And if you think about matriarchy and patriarchy, it's a concept of power, right? It's a kind of a power about education. It's a concept of power between Earth. And I've watched a documentary since 4 days about Mother Nature, about the planet. It's on YouTube. I advise everybody to watch this documentary, which name is Our Planet, produced by Netflix. It's astonishing. It's like a big and huge update about what we are doing to this ecosystem, this planet. And I've seen one of the, I think there are more than 5 episodes, I guess, which was powerfully narrated by David Attenborough, I guess, if I remember. And I was particularly interested about the elephants. They show a sequence with the elephants that are starving and looking for food, and it's like a squad of elephants. And who's leading the squad? The female, and she's the matriarch, and she teach the youngers to know to how to get water instead if in trees, like in just just deep down of the sand. I'm gonna jump in another story of matriarchy in human history and through certain countries like Spain, Italy. The matriarchy is really powerful in the culture, in education. Instead of you got the male got do their things, and the men they do their things, the field that I don't want to talk about, like mafia stuff and all that stuff. But all that said, all Italian men, they got the respect of the matriarchy heritage because they can't do certain things if they don't have the, like I say, the validation of the recognition of things, because those country was based on the matriarchy, the power of women. So I think it doesn't matter if men or women stuff like issues relationship. I think we should focus on the idea of power. And I think humanity, that's why I'm going to put men and women at the same level at the end, to raise the consciousness about our issues. If we got issues together because we still do not understand what is a man, what is a woman, because they are different and they will still different. They don't have the same way to work inside, to interact. They don't have the same power because both of them got power. And if you go back in the history, I got this powerful, that's the word, relationship between Cleopatra and Mark Antoine and Caesar. And most of the time when you see a big king or a big president, the adage said, if you want to understand the power of a man, like a president or a super powerful man in the world, is look his woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the same, most of the time, when those powerful men want to make huge decisions, most of the time they ask for their women should I decide this? Should I decide that? You say, I told you, honey, don't do this. Or I think they got their influence. Most of the time in the mankind history, most of the time, if you look. So where is the power? Where is the manpower? Where is the matriarchy? Where is the patriarchy? I think both of them are important. The thing is, what we are doing with this, I think we most of the time misunderstand and mistaking most of the time because we don't know deeply how it works. And at the same time, we don't know how this planet works. And that's how capitalism, I agree, it's kind of messing up like hard to this model to believe we, like men and women, think most of the time men, I agree, they want to believe that they are the anthropocentric species over this world because they don't understand how the planet works. And we are distracting this planet for sure. And we live like in a very, very, very short term because we are not able to see, got a vision about how far our evolution can take us because we stick around like the very, insignificant definition of power of this planet and our power.
So, fuck like, the patriarchy.
It sounds like we don't. Yes, but it's not just only patriarchy in my point of view. It's more complex than that. That's my understanding.
It's complex, but hey, Rudy, I think there's something really important that we should say. Patriarchy and matriarchy are not opposites. They are not like opposite words, right? Like they are totally not opposites. And that confuses people because like if you use the word matriarchy within like feminist, activism or whatever, it triggers people because men feel like they're gonna lose power.
Yeah. It goes back, yeah.
And if you look at true matriarchy societies, like the elephant story you told, and even the story of Cleopatra and those societies, men still had power. Like there wasn't an imbalance of power. There was just women in leadership. Like women were respected. Their work and their value was respected. And the men's work and value was also respected. But the patriarchy is this different thing where it's like an imbalance of power, and that's the difference. Yeah.
That's what we see, and you can. This is really interesting because in the COP26 summit, which is happening now, which is useless. One more. Like, I was really astonished to see Boris Johnson related to the James Bond example. Like, James Bond just starting to, impeach a bomb to explode. And to find out how to cut the good wire, and my fellowship president is our situation in the planet is the same. I was like in the screen, are you kidding me? I mean, this is the level you're taking that situation as a prime minister of Great Britain. Seriously? No, you need to elevate this, the topic. Don't relate to James Bond stuff. I love James Bond, this is wow, okay. But no, I'm sorry. You're the Prime Minister of Great Britain. This is the real thing. This is the real world. Why do you want to make relationship with James Bond thing like, I'm not a kid, we are not kids, this is serious stuff, man. And I was like, am I dreaming? And so it's useless again. And yes, I agree, the fear of losing power because this power is built on the capitalism ecosystem, concept, So yes, we now in this capitalism system, we are all trapped in it, And when we talk to, oh my gosh, we're gonna just reach 2 degrees 0.7 now. I mean, in the scale of 2100 or 2050, we know exactly what we have to do. We need to cut out and get out of this ecosystem like capitalism. So it's gonna be really violent because we need, you and I, all of us, we need to cut.
our way of life, now to cut everything enough to neutralize the balance, like to impeach, to increase the temperature. But oh my gosh, I got to leave all of this behind me. Not all of this, but I have to cut down and again because we need to change the way we live. It's scary, yes, absolutely. It is scary, but do we
We
want?
want to live. We are in Canada. I mean Canada. The what happened in Vancouver last summer, like almost 50 degrees Celsius out there on the streets, and I'm in Montreal, and we had the aftermath of what happened in Vancouver. My friends, I can tell you, we had 46, almost 47 degrees out there in Montreal in the street. That's impossible to get out there on the street. Impossible. Okay? So do we want to get worse than that in a few years? That's the balance. And at the end, the power of this planet, it's more powerful than any mankind, in this planet. Are we ready to endorse and understand that? I think certainly our species is not ready. And I think we don't want to embrace this reality because we got a very weird relationship with this planet. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm very uncomfortable to say our planet. We are not deserving to say our planet. Because if it was the case, we pay a lot of attention and respect to see how it works and don't messing around with things. So again, I think the definition of power, it's like a concept for our mind. And if we take seriously that word based on what it's happening, the way the planet works, we should be quiet, which is really far from us. And we need to learn a lot from this. So again, I'm trying to say each day to work over that word, to transcend that word and to transcend all those things because it's kind of, no, I don't want to, to deal with matriarchy or patriarchy, which exists. I don't want to deny it, but I think there is things beyond that.
We all need to be humiliated. Humility.
I know.
Yeah. Humility.
Yes, a lot. I think that's
that was like her favorite word that she looked up last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, humiliated has developed a new definition, which is bad because then it gives a bad light to humility. It's like, oh, we don't want to be humble. That means that we're not going to be cutting edge. We're not going to be advanced. We're not going to be competitive. We're going to have low self-esteem. And it's like, bullshit. No, like humility, the definition of humility, to be humble, means that your ego and your confidence in who you are is so strong and so high that you're chill. Like, you don't think you're better than anybody else. Like, because you're over that. You're so woke that you're like, what? Why was I even trying to run in that cage? Like, what was I even trying to do there? Like, and that's like perfection. So that's another thing the patriarchy has fucked us. Like, perfection and overworking. And then it's all just to make us lazy and forget about our humility, forget about our confidence, forget about how awesome and perfect we already are. That's it. It's so easy. It's like a button. Rudy, I don't know. I'm not jaded yet. I still feel that like I can fight all the bosses and get to the top and turn that switch. I really feel I could do that, or anybody can do that. The whole world can do that.
But what if doesn't happening?
I'm sorry?
Why? But okay, but what if it doesn't happening?
I mean, then I have no control, right? I can't obsess myself with it, but I got my own life to live and like my own philosophy and my own perspective to live. And that's what I want, until I die. Like, I wouldn't want to put out any other energy other than that. And if it doesn't yield the result that I want, like, what can I do? Nothing. But like, if I'm gonna give up, like, so I feel like the other option would be we just give up, and then to say fuck it, and you can then make different decisions. And some people end up making the bad decision, like, well, yeah, we're all gonna die anyway, so might as well just like suck up as much as I can while I can.
Ah,
I couldn't do that. I could not. Like, I'd rather I freaking go to my grave fighting this fight than sucking the sweet milk of that I can before going.
Mm-hmm.
you see, just what you said, this is the cruel reality about, okay, most of these, those powerful companies kind of revealing, okay,
we're gonna suck this planet up as much as we can, and it's like, oh, fuck it, oh, I don't know what is going about 20, 50, 20, or 100, because they make promising. And as Greta Thunberg said something really interesting, blah 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 blah, and it's really interesting about what is happening, and I give you a counter example about what we can do or not. Elon Musk said something and did something really interesting, like, in big quotes, related to a kind of patriarchy, if we can say. But it's another cruel reality about power and money and capitalism. He said and communicate through using Twitter, and said to nation to the United Nations, I got $6 billion in the table. I can put those $6 billion in the table to resolve the starving in the world. But at certain conditions, I give you that money, you resolve that thing, but I want to see in the accountability where you use the money, how you use the money, and what you get results, like, will you resolve this? United Nations didn't answer at this time for his proposal. Here's that word again. So what it says a lot of things. It says powerful things. Those kind of guys, like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they, first of all, they get bigger more than countries in the point related to money. There are big companies that delivers. They do what they say. They delivers. Like, Elon Musk, I send 4 citizens in the space, delivered. I am the provider of NASA. Like, I did it, and now, as a powerful man, a powerful patriarch, or capitalist, I dare to say, okay, United Nations, it's been a long time we're talking about, starving in the world and promising we can do with
a certain budget, we make the quotes, we make the estimates, all that stuff. I got the money. You do it. Okay? He doesn't want to give the money for nothing, right? Because this is the definition of capitalism. It's like of investing, and injecting money in this. It's a definition of power. If they say yes, they're in the trap. If they say no, they're kind of, looking for stupid people in the United Nations. Okay, what's the matter, for everybody in the world? This is a very tough situation. So this is the way it is still continuing, So that's what I said in a very provocative way for the exercise. Okay, Elise, so you want to put that boss down, to put that buses. How are we going to do those things? How?
Yeah.
The only idea is maybe, we are 3 billion users in Facebook. Like, we're going to get to shut down everybody at the same time, the using of Facebook, one day, 1 hour, to see what is going on.
Right.
Do we got the powerful in our strength, memory, and consciousness to not be addicted and to, go back and forth every time of day, what we're doing in the street, what we're doing, checking, put data, all that stuff. We are stuck in this. This is another cruel reality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, again, the Facebook CEO is a man. Wow. Okay.
Is he a man?
But if it was a woman,
Is he a man? It's questionable. He's a man.
If
I
it
heard
was a
he was
woman,
like a robot,
yeah.
like an AI.
But if Mark Zuckerberg was a woman, would that make any difference? I don't know, because power, you don't know about those kind of huge power. When you reach this kind of power in this economic ecosystem, I don't know if there were gonna be huge difference because of a woman and a man and vice versa. That kind of huge power, and not only money power. Mm-hmm. It's like the power to change things, to influence, to say, okay, I'm more powerful than a country. I can take this. I can, I got 3 billion users. I can take this. This is the thing. So we are currently in between. I don't know if it's. I understand what you mean about fuck patriarchy, but I think again, it's more than that. It's more than that. I think it's really about our definition, like human being with power. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And if we change the definition of power together, like men and women, maybe we got a chance to be preserved for a certain, very, very, very difficult destiny of our human being. Because don't forget that planet Earth gonna be fine without us.
Mm-hmm.
And even what we're doing dirty on Earth, this planet before us,
hey, Molly girl, welcome
have experienced many
We're having a
huge things that happen on the surface that we don't have any idea about. The ice age, all that stuff, the volcanoes and all the chaotic stuff. She's gonna be fine without us. But the problem is us.
Of course, yeah. Hey, Mark Zuckerberg does have a woman that works with him that makes all of his business decisions, but she's a white woman. That's important to note. And it is important.
She's a Chinese.
No, it's a white woman, Sheryl Sandberg, white woman. Very powerful. Wife? No, not his wife. No. His COO.
No, like a business partner.
His business
partner. CEO. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, what's on with his wife. But Sheryl is making very high level business decisions. Probably all of them.
Sure.
She has the experience of understanding online business. And yeah, ultimately it is the patriarchy. It all boils down to the patriarchy. I don't know, it's hard to explain it, but I totally agree with you, Rudy. We agree with you that it's our problem, and we're behaving poorly in how we treat the environment, how we treat each other, and it's a power problem. But yeah, yes. What Kayla and I are trying to say is that it's also being understood as a patriarchy problem, not just and all the imbalances of power that you see throughout so many other aspects of humanity is this same thing. That if we were to resolve patriarchy and get to a matriarchy, which wouldn't mean that women gain the power, it just means that women become respected, it would end up affecting all the other imbalances of power as well.
I think the key piece is that within a patriarchy there's this inherent power disruption. And even when you were talking about matriarchy and use the example of the elephants, you were saying they teach and they share with the community. It's this circular mandala, this is what power is to us. It's empowering everybody. Whereas inherently within the patriarchy, there is this pyramid. There is this I'm at the top of this power structure. And when everything is based on that patriarchal concept, that's I feel like that's the key component that we're trying to point on here. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a good way to put it. Like the pyramid, right? That like and it's not always just white men that are going to be at the top. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, yes, they will be, but
it's the system underneath it. And like
Yeah.
most of the time it's white men. 90% of the time. But also
there
it's
can be women that excel. There can be people of color that excel and go up there, but a lot of times when you look at it, and this is kind of the rift that feminism is going through right now, the whole girl power movement is going through right now, is that like they reached their level of success because of internalized misogyny.
that they have to operate within this system that's based on this like key point power structure, and that's how they get to that point. And maybe they're the exception. However, they're still like operating under this system that's inherently like power over, like dominion, like you said earlier. Yeah, and I agree with you, Rudy, that there is this transcendence of like man, woman, like humans all together. Like it is bigger than just matriarchy, patriarchy in their core definitions. And I guess what I'm trying to get to is like I'm viewing the patriarchy as that power dynamic that you're talking about, because it has such a influence over everything on the planet right now.
I want to share another example in history, which is really interesting that can prove at some point about matriarchy and power. This example is really interesting to investigate and see over and over again to understand again how power definition can change someone, whether it's a man or no woman. I want to talk briefly because they got two movies about that powerful woman, Margaret Thatcher. And talking about the Iron Lady, it means something, there's no joke. And I remember the momentum when she said to the parliament, I want my money back. That moment, historic moment, because she did what she said, and she, without any sentimental and any consideration, human consideration, she was really tough. And I remember in Great Britain history about the some youth social strikes, and to syndicate that, there was strikes on the streets, and they decided to make the starving strike. And she said, you know what? You can die from your starving strike. I'm gonna give you any penny. I don't want to negotiate. This is the definition of power, and she's a woman. What? Okay, I know it's not for saying that it's the same thing, but it shows that there is the opposite things that, for me, to my mind, I don't try to reach agree with me. I want to see the complexity and to put with the most,
Molly, thanks for sticking around.
Overview to see again what is happening with power, whether you're a man or a woman. I think it's based on education, values, and effectively, if you got the grandfather, the grandmother, the dad, the mom, which are both of them the authority education, you need both of them. But again, if a man and a woman want to get together, whether they're married or not, what are the values that if that man and that woman want to have a child, what will be the ecosystem, the value they're gonna teach, to their children? For the mother perspective, the matriarchy perspective, for the father perspective, the patriarchy perspective. Yes, of course, there is for the men the verticality and the women the horizontality. It's not that the same thing, both
Jamie,
of them can kind of play with it, because maybe a man is not comfortable to doing certain things, whether a woman is not comfortable to doing certain things that is not the obvious thing for both of them, And the thing is, a man don't have to feel threatened because his woman love to drive, for example. I mean, I take a very stupid example. I love to drive, Me, I'm not, I've been driven for many women in my life in a car. I don't feel any, threatened or, weak, no. I have, women in
Your manager told you to
advertising
give her the
agencies
treatment?
when I was in Paris. They were my superior hierarchy, boss. I didn't have any problem with that because I had the boss.
But
That's
you're
it.
an individual, and like you're referring to a system.
Yeah, but based on education.
Like you as an individual man, like don't have a problem with these typically masculine dished out.
Because of my education, because of my dad and my mom, because
your
of my
parents-
family.
Well, and that's still like a family
Yeah.
unit within a system. And I think
Absolutely.
I agree with you that all these things have an impact. And I think what we're still when we say fuck the patriarchy, we're talking about this system that inherently makes people believe women shouldn't drive.
I agree. I totally agree.
Okay.
But again, I want to.
So was your point? Your point was like more of how we are educated, and not so much your point, but what to be curious about and what to.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think I want to say that it's more complex than that. Because again, if you want to understand with a certain social, a social model like our society, and of course capitalism, it's a huge problem. Now we can see it more over and over and over again. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. But yes, I share with you that it's it's certain major point. It comes from the main perspective because of getting power, rules, things, competitions, perfections, all that stuff. But again, in history, we have to look to history, mankind history. Most of the women had power or influence to power, whether the perspective or the point of view or the reasons. So again, I think it's both of them got power. It's a kind of balance and a misunderstanding, because again, in the capitalism, you got powerful women, which are CEO, and they are in the high spheres.
They're internalized misogynists. They're bitches. They're not good. They're not empowering to other women. I used to be one. I know.
They're real badasses. They're real.
Here's the thing. This is really interesting.
They're not submissive and passive like women are supposed to be.
No, they're bitches.
For real. Yeah, I used to be living that internalized misogyny, and it's something that we need to
It's not misogyny.
It's internalized
This
misogyny.
is interesting.
Like women learn to hate themselves, just like sometimes a black man can learn to hate himself, and there can be internalized racism within themselves, Any woman in success, and this is a big part of discourse right now about feminism, you meet any woman of success and all of them have signs of being a pick-me or being internalized misogyny. Like, oh, I'm not like them. I'm different than them. Like, how is that empowering to women when you say shit like that? Like, oh, I'm unique. I'm the CEO. Like, that's why, like, I'm super sensitive when people call me a girl boss or when they say girl power to me. Like, I'm very sensitive to be like, hey, no, like that's not what I'm trying to, like, yeah, fuck the patriarchy. But, like, we got to go deeper than this. And, like, there's nuances. Like, this whole conversation came up, Rudy. I want to lighten up the conversation a little bit. It started from something very silly and kind of harmless. And this is one of those nuances where we were talking about how oftentimes when, like, a wife asks the husband to go find something, the husband, like, can never find it, right? Like, that's a big kind of joke between married couples is that, like, the woman is looking for the cheese grater or asks the husband to go get it. He can't find it. And she walks in the kitchen and the first drawer she opens is right there. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
It's universal.
That's universal. That's fucking patriarchy, Rudy. And like that patriarchy, what we were joking to Sam about it was like, You know, don't weaponize your ignorance, you know, because you can take advantage of the situation and gaslight somebody, gaslight your wife into, you know, whatever. But the cause of that is patriarchy, and for a man to be like, oh, you know, like, I'm just lazy, I'm just not good at finding things, my wife is good at finding things, like, that's the freaking patriarchy that's made that man think that, when in fact he's not fucking lazy. Like, if he was completely on his own and never had a mother or a wife to do that work for him, like, yeah, he would inevitably never lose shit in his house. Like, he would always find his stuff. But, like, it's always in these, like, married couples or, you know, people that always had their mother there to do that work for them. And women, just simply in a patriarchal society, and even in a matriarchal society, women do not have the privilege of being lazy. And that's interesting, right? Because in the patriarchal society, men have that privilege. Men have that luxury. If they want to be lazy about something, they can be. Like, once a woman is a mother, or she's within a system where she's being, like, raised to become a mother, she never has the luxury of being lazy. You're always having to do something, you know? It may be, like, domestic work, but you're always having to be responsible of something. Well, the men, you know, are in this position where they have that luxury. Yes, they may have to go work and provide, but, like, when they get home, like, they are allowed to be lazy. Women, oh, God forbid, you know? But that's interesting. In a matriarchal society, women are still not lazy. Like, women still have to do the same shit in a matriarchal society. They still have to, like, create life and be responsible for that life. Like, the men may be more involved in that, which is cool. But, like, women are still ultimately gonna be, like, dedicated to that. And, like, yeah, so that's the nuance where it came from. It's like, you know, patriarchy has, like, is kind of, like, inhibiting men for realizing their full potential, because it's, like, giving them this this personality that they can be lazy about certain things. Like, oh yeah, my wife knows how to find the stuff in the house, I don't know how to do that. That's patriarchy right there. It's crazy.
Like, you can find a fucking cheese grater. You can fold the laundry. You do possess
welcome,
this
Hazel.
capability.
We're having a virtual tea party. We're talking about fuck the patriarchy.
I live I mean, I'm a single man. I do my stuff myself. You know?
I do all these things.
Yeah.
So see? Yeah.
Yeah, so Rudy, like, that's why it's kind of hard to have these kind of conversations, because someone like you, like, or Sam, is probably not, like, the extreme example of what we're talking about. And, like, we're not trying to say fuck men, like, men are losers. No, we're trying to say the system is hurting both of us, not, you know, not just...
I got you, no problem. I mean, no, again, this is, I know this example because it's so universal, and which is an interesting starting point of this, I think it's not a rant, but I understand what you mean, and I got this. But again, this is really interesting because, you know, the man that doesn't find things and the woman got to deal with that. Plus, you know, raising a child. No, more than that. Get that child 9 months in the, you know, inside, you know, deal with all those things. I know the stuff, you know, and before that, you are in red zone a certain number time in the month. Deal with that, and don't have that. We don't wear the child. We don't, you know, put outside and suffer, and we don't. Okay, I know these things because I've met a lot of women in my life. I have more conversation about it, and at the end of the things, okay, beyond of this men-women stuff. Biologically, okay, what can we do?
Right.
I mean,
what
you
are,
see what I mean?
The actionable steps?
Yeah. What's the thing? Okay, understand. You seems as women got more stuff to deal with naturally that in society. I mean, in social life, you don't have to deal with more things, of course. And yes, the capitalism define like a woman should, take care of the house, take care of the things, take care of the fun, and there is the advertising behind that, men that conceive those ads with, I'm talking about Mad Men. You remember that series Mad Men in the 50s, way of life, and get the picture, getting the house, the cat, the dog, the children, the car, and the husband say, "Hi honey, have you had a good day?" and bring the money on the table, all that stuff. It's a lot of years of, mindsetting stuff. So yes, this is a part of the patriarchy, capitalism, inside and concept above the biological difference between men and women. And again, there's a lot of misleading of these things, a lot of mistakes, a lot of, weird understanding of those symbols again. So how to get out of this? This is the question. And I think, again, we need to transcend these things, like,
thank you.
As a man and a woman, and all together, we are gravitating around that word, power. And if we can learn from all these, 21st, 18th century, and before that, what can we learn in the 21st century to evolve, to get out of this? Because I'm gonna say something really deep. I'm tired to this men, women, fighting stuff. Like, I'm tired of this. I can't. No, sincerely, I want to learn the best of the women and vice versa, because for me, men and women are more powerful than themselves, because they need to connect to the real power, which is universe, Earth. This is the real power, money, all that stuff, that we created this power. We put a lot of faith in money. We put a lot of faith in diamonds, gold, all that stuff, but there's still minerals, So I need to get out of this. This is my stuff. I need to get out of this, Yeah.
Fuck the
I'm tired of this.
patriarchy.
I think you touched on it earlier when you were talking about, like, the narrow-sightedness of, like, only the present generation, like, not looking ahead to see what we are going to even leave for future generations. And that's part of this narrowing down mindset. And this is a little off topic, but when you mentioned it, I thought a little bit about, like, spiritual bypass and just always being in the present moment.
Molly, thanks for
right? Like, these meditation gurus, they want to, like, sit on a mountain and just meditate in solitude and, like, be completely focused on the present. And it's like, that's beautiful and wonderful, especially when you have anxiety and depression, you're overwhelmed, and to, like, receive insights from the universe, which you're talking about also, Rudy. And it's like not addressing the foresight. What are we all doing together, men and women united with Earth, to preserve this beautiful scenario we have, this amazing miracle that happened. We theorize that there's probably lots of other scenarios like this out there somewhere, but, like, this is the only one we know about, and it's beautiful, and it's miraculous, and it's rare, and we're just, like, shitting it all away.
Oh, yeah. Oh
we're
my
just
gosh.
like, and it is like, I understand your frustration with the, like, oh my God, just why are we even fighting? Like, this is so big and beautiful, and it's, like Elise said, it's just so simple. It could be so simple for us to, like, I don't know, for lack of better words, like, adopt how there was that reciprocity and synchronicity, symbiotic relationship with this planet that we're on. Like, that is the key, right? And it does transcend, like, this societal men, women, patriarchy, matriarchy, like, capitalism.
Racism, capitalism, all
but
that
these
stuff.
are all, like, real. This is, like, the third dimension and what we're dealing with. Like, these things do exist, and we do, like, how do we address them? Like, part of what Elise does in her streams is, like, have conversations with people who maybe aren't aware of some of these topics. And that's, like, I don't know what else to do. Like, we have conversations about it. We, like, live by example, like, but at the end of the day, it's like there's this big roiling system that's, like, present and real and destroying and broken. So Yeah, I don't know the answer of how to like transcend all of this division and, you know, these factors.
I want to mention, so Tef has been listening on Twitch, and he did leave some comments earlier that I didn't mention, but now's a good time to mention one. And hi, homies for nomies. Thanks for the cute nomies.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, she was listening. So Tef says, did I hear we need to get bullied? Now, this was like from a while back, but I believe that he's referencing whenever I talked about the need for humiliation. I think that's it. And this is one proposal, and this is what I'm investing my time and energy into right now. And the live stream has become an incredible channel to do this, right? So maybe not bullying, Tef, but trolling, right? And trolling can be bad, right? Like, Rudy, I know trolling has a pretty bad reputation online for,
Oh yeah.
you know, spreading, you know, hate and causing extremism. But trolling can also be playful and fun, right? It can also be good. Trolling can be good. And I did some research from different like philosophy researchers on trolling and like the psychology of trolling and like what it does. And one paper actually cited that trolling, the benefit of trolling that they saw in their work was that in every case, even in the bad trolling that involved hate, but also in the good trolling, was that it causes a community to reevaluate its culture, right? Because if you say something, even if you like do something that's a lie or do something that's a trick, and people don't like it, of course, like if you don't like trolling, then if you don't receive it well, then you're not gonna like it. But if you receive it well, then you can see it's like, oh, that joke actually got everybody to like think about a different perspective for just a second, you know? And so what I'm trying to do, and I now run a troll school on Friday nights where I teach people how to troll responsibly. Because it's like everybody wants to troll. Like that's where the internet is going. That's where social media is going. The younger generations, they're liking like TikTok or platforms where it's more about being anonymous. It's more about being a voice within this larger discourse. Is like people like trolling there. And a lot of times it does end up being hateful, but it doesn't have to be hateful. So like if you empowered people to be like, hey, if you want to troll, you should troll. But as you're trolling, always ask yourself, is what I'm doing contributing positively towards culture? Right? If you're doing it in a way, if you're playing a joke on people, and hackers do this all the time, right? If you're playing a joke on someone to get them to think about a different perspective, like that can be super powerful. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to like attract all the trolls and then, you know, tell them they're not trolling well and then teach them how to troll well.
Can I write your copy for you on how to get your trolls to pay you money to get better at trolling? I'm just kidding. I know you're not.
No, I don't think I want to monetize this effort. You know,
No.
The culture shifting efforts should never be monetized. That's not a good idea. I've got other things to monetize to support me within the patriarchy. Yeah, this trolling project is a totally new thing. But, you know, related to what Tef said, I mean, we need to be bullied to let us know that like we're not important. We're just a simple little piece of shit, you know? But
that made me think about Tony Robbins and how he like screams at people to disrupt their neural pathway and like think of a new thing. It's like a different application of that technique.
Interesting.
Right?
So yeah, you can
like
yell at
startle
people.
somebody.
I guess that's a way, yeah, because when you startle someone, you get them to like move out of their emotional state, and yeah, they're gonna think about a different perspective, even if it's just for a slight second.
And like, yeah, trolling can accomplish that.
Thank you
just
for the
in a different way.
Yeah, so like one of my trolls, here's my troll. Like I'll tell you some examples of trolling that I'm doing specific to this topic we're talking about. Okay, so like if I'm streaming and a dude comes in and says something like, "Oh, hey, why don't you take off your shirt?" or you know, like that happens a lot when I'm streaming, right? And that's a form of trolling, right? But it's shitty trolling. Or like they'll say something to me with like bad grammar, or they'll like, you know, and like I'll, instead of me yelling at them and blocking them, because like most women will just block them, you know, and that doesn't achieve anything for the trolls, because then the troll will just go find another woman to harass, you know. But what I do is I hold space for them, and I like talk to them, and I relate with them, and I say, hey, you know, your troll's not very good. Like, I know what you're trying to do here, or like I'll make them like say the sentence over again so I can understand them because their grammar was off. Or, you know, like I actually hold space and have a conversation with them. And just for those few seconds, and sometimes they'll stick around for a few minutes to listen to me talk. And I'll go off about misogyny and all this, but in a way that, like, I'm relating with them and they actually engage with it, right? So, like, I'm introducing a perspective and culture to them. Okay, so here's another troll, Rudy. When I lived in Niger, West Africa, when I was in the Peace Corps, every single man that I met there asked me to marry them. Every single one. Even if it was a fucking joke, like, that was just how men spoke to American women. They thought that they could speak to us this way. Because, you know, like, we would be moving around independently, which was very unique for women there. It's a very patriarchal society now, currently. I don't think it always was, which is interesting. I think that that evolution happened after colonization, but that's another topic. There's a lot of theories around that, which I believe in. But yeah, so like I'd hop into a taxi and the taxi driver would be like, oh, hey, you're very beautiful. I have 2 wives at home. I have room for another one. Do you want to be my 3rd wife? And I would respond back to them and say, oh, hey, yeah, you know, that sounds like a great idea. I've got 5 husbands back home in America. I've got room for 1 more. Let's make this happen. You know what I mean, Rudy? Like, that act in and of itself just introduced them to a whole new perspective that they never would have been introduced to, you know, and it shut them up 100% of the time. Either they would laugh at me or they would, like, give me a dirty look. Most times they laughed at me, and I was like, that's a success. That's a win, you know, because
you did well. I mean, it's simple as that, you know, just put the opposite, you know, thing. It's as simple as that, because they can see how,
hey, Nicole,
you know,
welcome in.
You know, maybe kind of say like unreal and yes, in a certain perspective, really stupid to approach a woman that way, you know.
I mean, I don't know if it ever worked for them. That's why, like, I think a lot of times they were just like joking. Like, that was just their way of having friendly, fun conversation with me. But it's like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
It's not, yeah.
So
But under the joke, there is a reality most of the time. Oh, most of the time, those kind of joke,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that was misogyny for sure. Hey, Groot, thanks for the happy and thank you for surfing early.
Yeah, you would disrupt the autopilot though, which is a moment of like, oh, and then like whenever that autopilot comes up again in the future, that other memory is there now in the neural pathways. Like, yeah. Like
here's another American girl. Let me not say anything to her. She might say something snarky to me.
Or even just a moment of pause and consideration before going about the regular autopilot.
Yeah.
Like, they may continue, but like that thought will most likely be there in some layer. It's like a seed.
Yeah, it's a seed. Yeah. So you can do it. You can do it through humor. You could do it through trolling, what I call trolling. Trolling doesn't have to be hateful, you know, comments on Facebook, although it does end up being that way. It could just be fun banter. I mean, what I said to those guys was extremely disrespectful. Like, I was extremely disrespectful to say that to them. But fuck them, you know, like that's what I felt was necessary. And, you know, like, it never like pissed someone off enough that they would like become aggressive with me. Like, I have trolled where I've crossed the line. Yes, I've done that before. I think one time we were at a bar when I was in Niger and some guy kept coming to us and trying to talk, and we said nicely and politely in every local language that we could, hey, we're not interested, sorry. And he just came and harassed us. And I finally, I don't know, I thought it would work. I was like, you don't know English, you're not understanding our Hausa, you're not understanding our French. I said, maybe you'll understand goat. And I told him, which is like the signal, you know, the herders do to the goats to make them move. It's like well known throughout the whole region. Like, that's how all of the husbandry is done. It's almost as if there's like a sign language to the animals there, you know? And I did that. And oh my God, all shit broke loose. Like, even the owner of the bar came over and yelled at me. Like, you don't do that. You never talk to a man as if he's an animal. I was like, okay, I crossed the line a little too much there. But, you know, sometimes you gotta test it out sometimes. He was just being really harassing. He, like, persistent. It wasn't like we didn't try to get him to stop. But, you know, some of these communities, like, the patriarchy is so strong that, I mean, they cloister their women there, you know, like where they don't even let the
it's
women leave the
related
house.
to, yes, to culture, education, values from the beginning, and it's it's not the
Yeah,
same thing in China. It's not the same thing in Bangladesh. It's not the same thing in every kind of countries because again, like the silo culture, education, roots and base and pillars and foundations, structures, all those things like in a very unique way. That is most of the time when you travel, you got the so-called shock of cultures, shock of everything. So it says a lot of things, like based in mankind history and development and societies and communities and histories and legacies and heritage and so it's a long path.
Yeah. And it's what you were touching on earlier, Rudy, about your family and how you were brought into this culture of education and like having a different perspective. And Resma Menenka talks about it in My Grandmother's Hands. He's like, the key is culture and like making culture different, like, making it move away from these like problematic ways through these like destructive, going to like suicidal ways, the practices, that the larger scale is. But now I'm curious, like, does quote unquote the patriarchy, the system, the like broken power that's slowly killing everything, like, does that transcend culture even? Because there's all these different cultures in all different countries and within countries. Like those are all individual cultures, but there's this like larger power that is creating lots of waste and monetizing everything and changing. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to articulate. And
well, I think that's why I mentioned, in passing about how, when I lived in Niger and saw the patriarchy there, saw the misogyny there, I thought it was like OG. I thought it was like always there, deeply rooted. That's how the relationship between man and woman is. But like, I've actually been hearing a lot of arguments lately that, pre-colonialism Africa was not a lot of matriarch societies that like the globalization and the colonization that's happened in the past couple of 100 years is the thing that has introduced these concepts. Because if you look at Eastern philosophies and African philosophies and pretty much any other indigenous philosophies, like they don't have any reference to anything such as dominion or humanity having any kind of precedent or value over anything else. It's all boiled down to the Old Testament, which is, what is that? Christianity, well, Judaism, Christianity, and then Islam too. Yeah.
Boo, Sam.
Real quick. Now I'm thinking about Jeff Bezos and the UN and like where does that fit into like the transcendence of culture? Right? Because it's like this individual. Is that who it was? It was Jeff Bezos that was talking?
No, it's Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, sorry.
Yeah.
No,
it's okay. It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, same.
It could be Jeff Bezos. And
Hey, those two characters are very different, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, so my larger point is that they're like
Yeah.
these powerful people with lots of money, and they are stepping into the UN saying, I want to do this. And like Rudy was pointing out earlier, the control that would be inherent in that offer. How does that, and does it transcend culture? Is it now just this like, what is the culture of that one person? Does it reflect a larger thing? Like, where does that even fit into this equation? And I don't know that I'm articulating that as well as I want to be, but I was thinking about it.
You did well. This is the point, Kayla.
This is the point? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't eat lunch and I've had like so much tea. I'm like a little bit tea drunk, and I'm also like sponging up all that we've talked about for the last, hour and a half. So, yeah. This has been good.
Yeah, it's been a good conversation today. Sam, we still have not changed the subject. We're still talking about why you're lazy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. we've determined that the cheese
It's
grater,
definitely the patriarchy's fault.
yeah, like cheese grater is always in the second drawer to the left of the stove.
It's to the right of the stove, and it's
If you-
supposed to go in the second drawer, but sometimes it's in the first drawer.
Okay. Well, good. See, you do know. I love it.
Love the one you're with.
But yes, you nailed it, Kayla. I mean, what you just said about this culture point and transcendence. That's it, you know. But again, you know, it's happening in front of our face, you know, this situation. And I'm half surprised, you know, about what Elon Musk did toward the UN, because it was so obvious one day it's gonna to happen. And it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely, and it's just to stay in the honest reality. You know, say the things the way they are now in real time. It's happening now, and it's a huge signal to the other, for Bezos, for Zuckerberg, for the Google CEO, because what Elon Musk just did a few days ago, it's like, you know, we go now. We're going to take over states, you know, we're going to take over countries. And remember something, because I remember that 10 years ago, more than that, Google and Amazon and Facebook, they announced really seriously and clearly they want to take over the health market, because states cannot handle health, you know, as they should take care of it, you know. And this is the next step when they gonna take health.
Oh, Gru.
That's gonna be a huge change,
I don't know
and
that
it's
song.
going to
Sounds like a
happen
terrible
because they
song,
got the
Gru.
money, they got the tools, they got the data, you know, all the data, you know, to treat that, to put the product like in a metaverse, all that stuff, and to say yes, this is serious. Those guys are really serious. Don't forget that.
Do we change our motto to eat the rich? Do we change our? I'm just kidding.
No.
He's like, no, that's not my point, Kayla.
No. It's not kidding, because it's interesting just what you just said. You know, because we are in it. This is the thing. We are just giving the data. You know, look something. it's been since 1996 when internet just become operational, because internet was created in 1989 in a scientific center in Europe, and when it became operational, from that point, who read carefully the privacy terms and conditions in any website and in any apps? No one. We have to be honest. When we receive, you know, the news, the alerts, like they give you the communication, oh, we're gonna change the term and conditions and the privacy policy, because by the law they have to do that. But this is a ton of paragraphs to read, and we're gonna say we say okay, but we don't know what is written, you know, by the, you know, every details, the consent, you know, of the data we providing, because we need these things. So they got a certain amount of data, which is the new power. Here is that word again, and we are in it. I don't want to make any user guilty, but we are part of it. We co-responsible, you know. And why those men are so most powerful, because we gave them what they, you know, observe and detect about our behaviors and the way we interact and what we need, you know.
Hey, Maxie.
And when
Maxie.
the app is free, you as a user are the product.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple. And they raise a lot of money because advertising in our workflows interacting. That's how they make the huge amount of money. Okay, so we give them daily those powers to take over, the countries, and this is what is happening. And when they're gonna say, okay, we're gonna take over the health for you guys, for us to get better,
8 coins, good one, Groot.
it's going to happen.
Awesome.
But not at 100%.
Groot got his box.
But it's going to happen.
This is a really weird novel that we're in right now. This story is fucking weird, you guys.
It's again from the beginning of human history. It's love-hate things. You need, but you don't need it. We use it, but we don't want to use it. It's always contradiction stuff. So those kind of persons became so much powerful, but why? What are the source? What are the reasons? So they couldn't get all this power, alone. They need us.
Can I get a quick refresh on what Elon Musk did with the UN? I know there was like a tweet or something about Elon Musk wasting a bunch of money, and he went back to the UN and is like, if you show me how $6 billion can solve world hunger, I'll do it. And I'm like, yeah, like nobody can yes, that amount of money could probably do it, but nobody has a plan that's like, this is what will do it. Like, it's not a resource problem.
Real quick, I have a 10-minute mark, and then I'm going to go on a walk. So if we're all in conversation, I might just wave and walk away at that point. But yes. I also want to hear the recap.
Is that what we are referring to? Or is there other news that I did not hear about? Hi, Tef.
Hi, Tef. Yes, it's related. It's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing context.
It's in this context.
Okay, cool.
It's a part of the taking over institutions, because they messing with all their missions for since maybe 40 years. There's one man that raised up and I got the money. Now I'm putting the money on the table. Okay, what's the deal? Because they're acting like a deal, persons. Like it's not. It's the same economic behavior, capitalism behavior.
Yeah, I'm reading an interesting sci-fi series called The Unincorporated Man. Are you familiar?
Yeah, I'm smiling. Oh yeah.
So in this fictional world of 300 years or so in the future from now.
Hi, Kenwood. We're having a virtual
all human beings are born into a incorporation, which they then sell shares of to fund their lives. So your parents own a certain percentage of your corporation. You sell shares to go to school, that kind of stuff. And you essentially don't have control over your own well-being because you end up having to sell more than 50% of your shares in order to fund your living.
Thank you.
And the idea of retirement is obtaining becoming the majority shareholder of your own corporation. But one of the really fascinating things in this world is that corporations are what run the world, not government.
Yes.
So far, no.
No, that's the way it is in this book.
No, I get you.
That the idea of government interfering with anything is really abhorrent in that series. But the whole premise of it is that some dude was cryogenically frozen from our era with a shit ton of money, wakes up 300 years in the future, and he's like, I'm a free man. So I'm almost done with the third book.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I'm enjoying the world a lot. I think the writing is okay, but the world and the premise is all very, very cool. But yeah, it seems more and more like that kind of stuff is like becoming like an actuality.
Yes, I think. I mean, maybe it's not gonna be, but it seems like, you know, it's really similar. Weirdly, that's weird.
Yes.
Behind your hot tea brew, awesome. I don't know. This might not be a popular opinion, but like I'm not against that. Like I'm against Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos being the CEOs in charge. Like probably all of them currently. But like the concept of a corporation and the leader of the corporation, like they already are making wide-scale decisions that affect entire ecosystems and communities. They're already doing that. But like if there was a better system of accountability, you know, like they would run more efficiently and more like and better than governments. Like corporations are man's most powerful institutions we've ever built, like more powerful than any other government or society. Like the concept of corporation, because it runs off of the concept of capitalism, which is an exchange of value, where the gap is there's not an accountability system of that exchange of value, and so it's not a true exchange of value. There's like so many things hidden behind closed doors that
Papa!
oh, he's yelling at his other dog.
Yeah, he's dog sitting.
Yeah. But you know, like if there's like an entire generation of CEOs that are running their businesses as social enterprises, I mean that's kind of the term that's been used. I kind of feel like the term's already been co-opted, but is like the concept of running your business under that triple bottom line of like considering all of the costs involved and how. And it's smarter to do that way. You're going to build stronger, more legacy corporations by running your corporation that way versus being short-sighted. Like, you could build a corporation that you can get a return in the next year, but, like, if we were to instill a culture of young leaders to think about their leadership as legacy versus what can I get out of it now, you know, I think that like, a generation of responsible business leaders, you know, could step up to that challenge and make it, you know, a beneficial situation. I'm a CEO of an international corporation, though, so you understand my bias. But, like...
Full disclosure.
But, like, the reason, like, I didn't aspire to be this. It wasn't like, you know, I went to business school and hung out with all the entrepreneur bros and was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna, like, be a famous entrepreneur. I'm doing it out of spite, almost. I'm doing it because I came from the development world. I came from...
Fuck the patriarchy.
And fuck the patriarchy. Actually, I wasn't on that one yet. That's a new one. But, like, when I started the business of, like, why I was like, okay, I'm going to become a CEO. And, like, the first thing I had to learn was, like, okay, how can I, first of all, convince people that I'm motivated by money? And then how can I actually act on that? Like, that was a really hard part of my growth as a business owner. But like I want to prove it. Like I would love to become a billionaire. I would love to become a peer of all those guys and show them, hey, you can do it while still making good decisions that are beneficial to the entire system versus just good for you or for your shareholders.
Well, and that's kind of the crux of the issue is
Hey,
like it
CBD King
has to be good for the whole system or it's not actually good for your shareholders.
Yeah.
And it's like understanding that there's this, there's always these unrecognized externalities that I was actually having this kind of more like philosophical debate with a used to befriend and now someone who I tolerate conversing with because it's every once in a while it's good to listen to people that are far down the Q shrub rabbit hole.
Okay.
But anyways, like we were talking and like I have this idea that like there's no the concept of profit doesn't actually exist. Profit is an entirely man-made concept.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if there's profit somewhere, there's loss somewhere else that's just not being accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And that's like Newton's first law.
Mm.
I mean, if you think about every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Kevin, I'm doing well.
Why would it not apply in this
Sorry.
sense? Why would we think that we could like put something in, take less out, and that's not quite making sense.
I hear you.
But at the same time, it's like when you combine things in the right forms, they become greater than the sum of their parts. When you combine the right things in the right forms. But bye, Kayla Bear.
I'm gonna leave. Tef, I'm glad
Bye,
you finally
Kayla.
made it. We saw you popping in and out, and it's good to see you. And I enjoyed this conversation today. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Before
Thank
Kayla
you.
go, I would like to state I don't own a cheese grater.
Is that because? Why? Never mind.
Is that because you don't know where it is? You used to own a cheese grater and you just lost it and you've just given up and now you don't own it anymore?
No, I am aware that I do not own it, which means that I cannot become lazy.
I don't know.
I mean,
Ted.
I will need to, I will need to find
Kayla.
other way. I'll need to find other way to get my cheese grated.
Does anybody actually own the cheese grater?
Apparently not in this group right now.
I
Kayla
own
might do.
several. I know I own several.
Why do you own several?
How do you think the cheese grater feels about being owned?
And why do we have multiple of them?
Well,
Because
because you got the fine grade and the coarse grade, and I can understand.
no, it's because like so many times that I've moved and like roommates' stuff got left behind, or my mom donated a box of things or whatever, you know.
So you say you have not control over the stuff you bring with you in and out of
Yeah,
people's houses.
they're my own houses. I don't know, Tef. I don't think you ever
Those
had
two.
roommates. You don't have any room. You've never had roommates, so you don't know how that works.
I have.
But you
I
have.
have been having a roommate like 6 years ago, 7 maybe even.
And that was the last time you had a cheese grater.
I don't think she owned a cheese grater either.
Well, no, she didn't. You probably did, and then she took it.
Ah,
So now
No,
she owns a cheese grater, and you don't.
She did not own a cheese grater.
Do you just not grate much cheese?
Why should I? I normally buy it wow. Speaking. Pre-grated, like already chopped up nicely. So I just need to sprinkle it on.
all right. So here's where the patriarch got you, Tef. Maybe it doesn't get you losing your cheese grater, but it makes you very argumentative and stubborn. So fuck the patriarchy.
That is slightly true. Not totally. It might be slightly true in some senses. Like I can show off my shoe, how nice they are.
Oh, nice
Good
shoes.
looking.
Nice shoes, Tef.
The problem is just like those are thin bottom, which means then when I walk around them in the cold, I get cold feet, and then I don't want to do anything. And that's why when I want to have nice feet, I go around in those shoes that is like slightly broken and has a little problem on the side.
No, so you know where the patriarchy really got tough with the cheese grater?
Where? What is it?
He doesn't even have to grate his own cheese anymore.
Yeah, fuck the patriarchy.
I'm so powerful.
He just buys pre-grated cheese. And you know what? He pays more for it.
Actually, not. It's cheaper.
Really? Not here.
It is here.
And you know who
pay
gets
like 10%
that money?
more for grated cheese here.
Elon Musk is getting that money in some weird, crooked way. He's trying to solve world hunger with that money.
I don't think he's trying to solve world hunger. He was just stating that if somebody had a legit solution, he would fund it.
I got a solution. He didn't listen to me, though.
What is a solid
What is this?
solution then? What does he deem as a...
Cool, and Groot. That was super
There's a lot
cool.
of stuff going
I've
on
never
that he
seen
can
that one.
donate to. Like, why should he... This is where he's fucked up. He's like, oh, only if you come with the golden rule of 1, then I will like to support it. Instead of be like, there's not one golden rule, there's multiple small solutions that you need to support. If you do not support all of those small solutions, you will never get it fixed. But saying like, oh, I need to do this one exactly specific thing, that is not the way to do it. He's basically saying, I don't want to do anything. I want to keep my money unless you come with this golden rule. But the golden rule does not exist and you cannot create it. Because we have found multiple ways to end world hunger, but each way is different in different ways. And they all need support.
Yeah, that was a cool.
I mean, they all
Must be
require
different.
at
That was
least a
super
little
cool.
bit of selflessness, and we're just not that.
They all need a support. And not only one of them. It's not like he's going and picking flowers for his girlfriend. But that's basically what he's making up for. He wants the nicest
He
flower
doesn't
for
have
his
a girlfriend. He doesn't have
Yeah, they broke up.
And his boyfriend, I don't care. Like, he's trying to find the best flower for the ones he loves. But he only wants to get one. And since he cannot find the best one between them all, he refused to buy any one at all.
Well, but how can you say that? This man is probably doing more for the future of the human race after we fuck up our planet. Like, beyond belief. Like, we're gonna need to be able to get to somewhere else in the galaxy and, like, survive and live. And he's making the most progress.
Well, that is also on the cost on other people's lives. People are literally dying at the workplaces he have.
Yes, I mean the planet B, son.
that's cool,
It's a very seducing scenario, but the thing is, NASA just discovering more than 2,000 exoplanets, but the only thing they are so far, we're talking about millions light years to getting there, and the other thing, those exoplanets seems to be really similar to Earth, but here's the thing: we are not sure they can have or be compatible to life or our species, but we are not sure. The thing is too far, but the only thing I can think about, if it's possible, like people like Bezos and Elon Musk stuff, if they got time and enough money to bend over space-time like in Interstellar scenario to get there, I don't think that's gonna concern a lot of human beings if we reach that level. But to reach that level, we still to maintain this Earth like the most comfortable to live within, which is, intricate, paradoxical situation, So to get out there to find out this planet B, if we are so fucked up in the time count, space-time in human history, it seems like we need to preserve as much as possible our life in Earth ecosystem.
Yeah, Groot gets
So,
gas. He gets
I'm not
gas
sure,
bad.
but I
Stinky
understand
farts.
what you mean, Sam.
Stinky
Well,
farts.
I mean, that's kind of where I draw the line between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, Elon Musk actually, I feel like he is trying to solve big problems that face humanity on a very grand scale.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is not.
not. Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff Bezos is joyriding.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Elon Musk wants to send us to Mars.
Why? There's nothing on fucking Mars beyond Mars. There's not even cheese. Like, why should we then go to it? Why do we need to go to Mars? There's nothing.
I agree with you, Tef, more than 100%. That's why it's
nice
the
hashtag.
comparison between Bezos and Musk is really interesting, because I don't think Musk. I understand what you say, Sam, and I can share it, but both of them are dealing with things that is a little bit related to God things, like because of their power and situation, they're taking over everything. And I can relate to about the why Mars, or why another planet. Like it just make again what is the realistic reason to get out there?
You know what? If they want to go to Mars, they can build themselves a rocket. They can build a tender rocket and then just fly off. Nobody is saying they need to return. I hear them say they need to go to Mars. That's fine. Are they ever saying they need to return? If they do not need to return, then just go. We can send stuff to them afterwards while taking care of our planet. Like, let's find people that can run the corporation, get stuff, and send them stuff, and then we can make one big trash planet on Mars. Yeah, and then make a Wall-E to go around and make it all bloggy. Like,
yes, the thing, I more than agree with you, Tef, but the thing is, it takes 9 months to get on Mars, and the thing is, no human beings at that point, no scientists got the solution to deal with the radiation, the sun radiation on Mars, and taking the atmosphere. Even they created like those villages, and I agree with you. Why the question is why Elon Musk they gonna do now, because it seems that they are not ready. So the thing is, we're gonna see maybe in 10, 50 years if they're gonna go, or him, or maybe his sons gonna go get out there by themselves, which is a little bit like.
Then have a nice trip. Don't write back. Don't come back. Just keep going. Keep going. Bye. Like, if they so much want to go out in space, that's fine. Then go to space. But like, they do not know what is like. We know a lot about space, consider we are just one fucking small planet in the big system. But like, there's still so many things.
But isn't that the argument that we don't know shit?
The counter is that we do not know what is beyond what we already know, and we want to know that. Like, but for now, within the space we know, that is like fucking huge.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, and to be honest, we have not even been on our own little planet. We have not even been into the core of the Earth.
Thank you. I love that what you say.
Hey, if I become a billionaire, I'm gonna be the first man to go to the core of the Earth. That's my thing.
Elise, you're not gonna become the first man. You're gonna become the first woman or the first human being.
No, I'm gonna be the first man.
Well, you will be a man then.
No, I'm just kidding. I said man because that's the fucking like. What is it like when you say you're the first human? It's always the first man. I was just commenting about the patriarchy again. It's okay. But I'm gonna go to the center of Earth. I'm not trying to go to Mars. I'm trying to.
Okay, if we are not supposed to use the man, human, or woman.
No, human is good. Human is good.
Human is good.
Yeah.
Okay, then you will be the first human to the core of Earth. You will get a nice burn, but that is another story. Like, we have not even tried to think, is it possible to go into ourselves, our own little planet? We know that's fucking hard, but we have not really think, can we go inside?
But so here's the thing.
We are always thinking about going out.
One of my investors, he owns Tetris. He's the man that commercialized the game Tetris. So he's a billionaire through Tetris. He does a lot of investment and work with NASA on these projects to go to Mars. And I ask him all the time, like, why? Like, what? Like, we always ask, why do you want to go to Mars? Like, well, you want to solve energy problems here on Earth. And their reasoning is always, well, it's the technology that we would need to develop to go to Mars that would teach us how to fix our problems at home. And I'm like, dude, if we figured out the technology of how to get to the center of the Earth, could you imagine the power that we would fucking have? Because we would understand chi. We would understand the power in the center of the Earth and how to, you know, we essentially would learn how to harness that power, which then could freaking solve all the world's problems, really. There's so much power and energy, like, encapsulated right in the center of our planet. It's wonderful.
Like,
So
if we
let's
learn to go in and tap into that power,
Hey,
we can
Conrad,
even learn
welcome
to
in.
like navigate our planet around
The virtual
against
tea party.
pulling into the sun. Like we can basically be like, okay, we don't like to go closer to the sun. Let's freeze things closer to Pluto. Like let's stop rotating and then just push forward in space, and then like start having our own big huge spaceship.
Oh, Groot, you're
So now we go like super metaphysical with it and talk about why are we always looking outside when the solution is inside?
Mm-hmm.
And we start talking about how meditation is important and finding inner peace, and there's an entire universe inside your mind.
Ah, that word.
There's not only one, there's a lot.
But it was really interesting about getting in the center of the planet, in the core of the planet. But there is this movies about the core. I remember with there was a movie just was released about this topic, and but for sure it's a huge deal to deal with the pressure to get in the 7,000 kilometer inside Earth, because the core is at 7,000 kilometer deep, and just get
build up your mental strength so you can handle the pressure.
Yeah, you just don't meditate enough.
Yeah, I mean, and there is, but here's the thing, interesting thing, about the Mariana Trenches. What is being accomplished with the first scientists, with the French guy, with both of them, they reached that deep.
I never saw your name is Memphi.
No, because it was interesting because of the relationship between these two countries and about the patriarchy things. And there was I don't want to dig in it, but it was interesting from that point. But the thing is, James Cameron did this again with the new craft to deal with the pressure and reach again the deep core of the Mariana Trench. And we're talking about 11 kilometers at least.
What, Daddy?
But it's just 11 kilometers, but the core is 7,000.
Oh, fuck the
so
daddies in charge.
Is that possible? I mean, it's. I understand what you mean about this, but
there's more technology here than it took to get us to the moon 50 years ago.
I know.
So yes, it's possible. It's all a question of when.
All right, so we need to go to Mars so we can innovate the new phone technology. Yep, I believe it.
I mean, how else are we going to enslave ourselves?
Yes, you nailed it, Sam. You nailed it so well. But I think maybe the answer is in the core of the planet. Because there is the magnetosphere, there is the core itself, there is the magma around, and there is all those activities that maintain this planet alive and the way this planet works, the dynamics inside. So we need to learn a lot of things about it. But I will be seduced to see how is it possible. But it means a lot of things, to those forces to deal with the huge forces inside at that level, which is not the same thing to go on Mars or on the moon. I don't know if you see what I mean, and to deal with the heat, because.
So you're saying it's easier to deal with the cold than it is to deal with the heat.
Oh, you want Bitcoin? Okay, Bitcoin.
Because the further out of Earth's atmosphere you get, the colder it will get. Mm-hmm. Because there's like zero pressure in space, you will have like 0 minus degrees. So you're saying it's easier to work against cold than it is to work against heat.
Mm-hmm.
But can you not just take the energy from the heat, turn into a refrigerator, and then create cold? But you cannot take the cold from space and turn into a heater.
I know.
So it's easier to remove the energy from Earth core than it is to remove energy from the space. So it should theoretically be easier to go into the center of Earth than it is to go out to space.
Cool hashtag.
Interesting. It's really interesting. I'm really seduced by that because I've watched this movie. Was really in 1996, I remember, maybe. And the name is The Core, or something like this. And the scientists find out, Sam, a solution to get inside to reach the core, because in the plot of the movie, the core is dying and gonna just, make the protection disappear from Earth. So they need to go inside to reach the core to make a nuclear bomb explosion to restart the core dynamic.
That sounds like a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Yeah, and you have to see this movie, guys, because it's an old movie.
It's a great movie.
Oh, it's a great movie.
To be honest, it's just like you react to they saying that basically the Earth core is like a heart.
Yeah.
And like all the heat in it is basically dying out, which means there will be slower rotation, which means that the Earth is gonna come to a standstill. But if you go in, bring this huge explosion inside it, and give it a big boom, it's basically giving it a restart of the heart that will make it rotate again and give it heat and like make it all the function one more time. So they have like this small team that is gonna assemble inside like upside down spaceship, and they travel through the water down to the bottom of the sea, through the Earth crust, and they start digging and digging. Yeah. And something I have already found interesting about that movie is that at some point when traveling downwards, they get to an empty space. Literally an empty space within the Earth core, filled with crystals.
Diamonds, crystals,
Yeah, and those crystals are the last
amazing thing, by the way. This thing is amazing.
Yeah, like, and that's like the last cover before the core. And they can just not get through the crystals. They cannot get through.
She's trying to con people. That's
and they're
sad.
Like, what can we do? What should we do? So like, this action hero saved the day with the plot of armor. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna right here where it's like really empty, like really thin of the crystal core. And then right here I'm gonna explode everything with the nuclear bomb. Like right here we are gonna make everything explode. And then hope for the best.
I know, you can't be worried about that though.
And like, of course it's gonna fucking succeed.
It's
but like,
just learn.
This idea that like you need to like have a big explosion to make everything work again. Just like the heart is like really interesting. Like, I still do not know why there's like an empty space within the core on Earth. Like, I still do not know that. But like, it's just an interesting movie still. Like how they like keep digging down and down and down and then come to this big empty space. I should watch that movie one more time.
Again,
like, it's been so like I know I've seen it at least twice or 3 times.
Me 6 times.
Yeah. I don't have time on how many times I watched it, but like, it's a movie that's worth watching, just for the idea of like, how about travel inside and what is down there? Because like, even so, we can like,
like, the police is not going to do anything.
Search the Earth through with all our sensors and magnetics and like.
You're talking about the core with Hilary Swank?
Yeah,
that might be the one.
Yes. Yeah.
The only way out is in.
Yeah.
That
one.
Okay. And like, what the fuck was I trying to say? Like, we can like make so many research on what's inside, but like ultrasound, censoring,
even if
infrared, all of that.
The police really aren't going to do anything.
We actually do not have like a really good understanding on what is in a crust all the way down to the core. We only know that the core is like very, very fucking hot, but we do not know if there is like a tiny civilization of flammable human beings in the middle of the core. Like, we could fucking have magma monsters living inside the core of Earth, and we will never know because it's too hot to actually research it.
You remember, Elise, when I said earlier we don't know this planet? Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, like the ocean. It doesn't even have to be the core. It could just be the ocean alone.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
There's actually a story, like a segment from the story of Mega Man, a Japanese manga story, where like they're stating, we have traveled the world, we have reached outer space, we now know the boundaries outwards, but the mankind have never truly traveled inside, and we still to this day never know what's at the bottom of the ocean. Mm-hmm. And that like saying that like even so human being might one day even find the edge of universe, when do we actually take the time to travel inside and find the bottom of our own space? When do we do the physical meditation of our planet and really research everything inside? Like, that's something like that's still interesting to like, when do we do that?
So fuck the patriarchy, because the patriarchy is holding us back from doing that work, you know? Like, even if we're talking about like politicians or
wait. I think the patriarchy is probably a fan of big giant holes and sticking things in them.
No, Sam.
I'm not gonna comment on that.
That was I just laughed.
Speaking of which, Elise, I heard a really funny joke earlier today.
Go for it.
Is Dawn watching?
Dawn is not here. Nope.
Dawn is not here? Okay,
Dawn hasn't been around for a while.
This is one for Dawn.
Okay, what is it?
But what do you call the process of considering to become a prostitute?
Thought process?
A thought experiment.
Yep, there we go.
There we go.
Fuck the patriarchy. But no, okay, so that's the, you're talking about like our obsession with looking out before looking in. I mean, we could apply that same concept to even like how governments and like anybody in a position of superiority or colonization that like thinks that like they know better for other people or they know better for what people need versus like freaking put your efforts into understanding what you need and what we really need versus forcing on people what you think they need.
No, because to be honest, Elise, you're basically right when you're saying people in power and people who are like a politician and CEOs and powerful people. You are kind of right when saying that it is those people. That will mean you're one of those people too, just because you're a CEO. But to be honest, it's not only those. It is also the everyday human being that's going around.
Fuck the patriarchy. Yes, everybody is a part of it, Taff. Yes.
Why do you want to fuck so much? Go on and get some sex if you want to fuck. For sake. Well, what I'm basically saying is like, it's not just politicians and people in power. It's also the everyday man and woman and human being beyond and between.
Yeah, that's why we got to do this work. That we are responsible. Tef, exactly. You are responsible. I'm responsible. Ruby's responsible. Sam's responsible. We all got to put our work.
Yeah, we got responsibility.
I am not responsible. I'm very irresponsible.
Like right now, I have the problem that Elise is trying to like interrupt everything I'm saying, which is like. Another kind of problematic, like that's the CEO of her being like, I want to be in charge, so I don't want him to speak out and be like honest about this. Like, so right now, I'll just like see if we can be allowed to say that everyday man that even think they have no power can still think so much about themselves that they think that they can be in charge of other people's life. Now you can commentate on that.
That's fine, Tef.
She's so much gonna kick my ass at some point.
No, I mean, I'm just gonna kick patriarchy's ass. Like, I'm blaming anytime we get into a fight, Tef, I'm just, let me blame patriarchy. I mean, you should be grateful for that, you know? You should be grateful for that. Then you don't have to be responsible. You can just say, oh, it's the patriarchy's fault.
No, because like that is like stop being like you need to take responsibility in your life, because like if you are just like I have no responsibility, then we return to that thought of being lazy. Again, like if you're like I don't have responsibility, then why do something about it? That means I can just be like I don't have responsibility, I don't need to do anything. The mom of the child, she can do anything. She can breed it, she can feed it, she can take care of it. I'll just be over here. I'll give her some money maybe, and then that shall be it.
You can be lazy.
Like, then we are back to this
Conrad,
laziness.
thanks for coming back.
But like, that's like also giving up on responsibility. And that's just not, don't do that. Like, take responsibility, be part of it. No one says that offering money is responsibility. Sometimes just be like a thought person that like can go into deep conversation is taking responsibility. Like, actually being honest is a responsibility. Mm-hmm. Be out and take care of other people is a responsibility. I'm not saying about lifting them up from the grave and like healing them, but like just be next to them and do not hurt them. You can be natural positive against other people. And that can help them grow.
I hope you
because you can be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything bad against you.
I'm sure you're going to get another
which
one.
Makes it
sure
natural. It does not mean that you do anything good, but by not doing anything bad, you're doing good. Like, it's like this, there cannot be dark without light thing. So like, if you do not do one, you are kind of doing the other thing. Because you are then also giving people the space to grow in an area without the judgmental of good or bad.
Did you complete your thought, Tef?
I did that like some times ago.
Okay.
But then you kept talking?
No one interrupted. So
I thought Elise always interrupts.
I know, that's why I want to make a point. Now. About what just happened between us, Tef, and what you just said to me, which, was quite offensive, actually. If I was a man and I was talking over you, like I had done in a couple of examples there, and you became upset and pointed it out to me, you would have never, ever, ever said, oh, look, there he is. He's just trying to be a CEO. He's trying to be in control. You would never say that to a man if I was a man. You have never said that to me. But you said it so easily to me. And that's patriarchy right there. That's patriarchy right there. That, like, I can't just have a strong voice. Like, you won't just accept me for having a strong voice just because I have a strong voice. Like, a man, if he has a strong voice, he talks over, mansplains, whatever. No one questions it. It's just, okay, yeah, he's just got a strong voice. But, like, because I'm trying to have a strong voice here, like, I got called out for, like, wanting to be controlling and wanting to be bossy and wanting to be the CEO. And so, just...
I think that's a little unfair, given the context that we had a discussion earlier about you as a strong CEO, and I think it was more in relation to that than your femininity.
All right. Thank you for not validating my feelings. Thank you.
I also like to say I'm sorry. I maybe have been explaining the wrong then. Because like what was trying to say was like, it does not mean that you need to be a CEO to have a strong voice. People that is like not have a big title can also still have a strong voice. And therefore like, it does not help that we only put blame to people that have a title of power, we also need to put responsibility and blame to the everyday man, because the everyday man, woman, creature is like also part of supporting those in power.
Tef, I don't need you to re-explain your argument. I don't need that. Like, I was
I
just
just
telling
want to
you
make sure
that what you communicated to me and what you said to me and how you like portrayed me in that moment is something that like only women experience. Like, a man would never be called a crazy bitch. A man would never be called bossy. A man would never be told, oh, you're controlling. Even though they are fucking controlling. They are power, hungry. A man would never be called that, especially from a friend, Tef. And you're friends. And you said, oh, you always need to, be in control. You always got to talk over me. Yes, maybe I did. And I'm sorry I did. I'm sorry that I talked over you, Tef. And I wanted to give you the space to talk. But, like, I'm just letting you know that response that you had is misogynistic. That, like, that only women can be crazy or women can be controlling bitches. And that's some deep work that all of us, like, even I, like, when I had internalized misogyny, I would say that about other women. You know what I mean? So, like, it's all work that we need to evolve beyond. And I'm sorry I put you on the spot, Tef. I'm sorry, Tef. I'm sorry I did that.
That's
like,
okay.
You're not a jerk. You're not a jerk. I'm just communicating my feelings in the moment, and I just would appreciate them to be validated. Although we can have conversation around it. Yes, of course, I open that, but just validate my feelings. That's it. Thank you.
I'm just used to be talking over by other people, and not just like you, to be honest. I've been talking over interrupted by both of every gender, to be honest, both on the spectrum and beyond the spectrum. So I did not really think about it when I put you in the spot, and I'm sorry for that, but I hear what you say. Mm-hmm. And you're right, I'm not a jerk, I'm just a horrible human being. I'm an evil mastermind.
No, you're not. No. That I will argue with you on. I don't think you're an evil mastermind. But, I mean, how often do you, like, stand up for yourself when you're spoken over like that, like you did with me in that moment? Like, you were just, like, really fast to, like, call me out of being, like, a controlling person. I just feel like men never get that response.
Well, to be honest, I can actually say that 4 years ago, I would just have been like, fine, I'm gonna shut up and let you speak. And then we could have been sitting in awkward silence afterwards and been looking into each other. I will have waited 5 seconds and then have been like, are you finished talking? Like, I would have done that. But I shall be honest, since January 2019, I've been like, I don't something happened in December 2019, December 2018, January 2019. There was a huge point in my life, and I was just like, after that point, I was like, human beings are horrible. I don't like them. Then fuck them over. And that's where I like started to be like, you talk over me. That's fine. I will call you out for it, and I will blame you, and I will make you feel bad, and you will suffer as I look into your eyes and make you think about your actions. Like I said, I'm a horrible human being, and I'm an evil mastermind. I'm triggering a lot of people to do stuff for me to make things work. So like, from before December 2018, I would never have been saying it to people. Afterwards, I've started doing it. So it's like the last 2 years-ish, 3 years-ish, I've been doing that. But like, I've been like working in politics for a very long time, like the last 10 years. So like, I'm very used to speak with people that speak a lot, with very strong opinions and weak opinions. And like, sometimes when you sit in a group and talk together, people just talk over each other. It's like it's a natural thing, because like there's like those like, did you hold a break or did you not take a break? And then like, can I then start to talk or not? So like, some people do not know when to like, now I can get the cue and talk. And all of people are just like, now you just all need to listen to me, and then accept that as the world of charm rule. And that shall be the degree of me. And that's like where I've been like before. Then fine. You talk, and when you're finished being loud, I'll then start talk, and then we can have a proper conversation one more time.
You see, if I can make a point, this is interesting what's happening just in the now. When it is, you remember that's what I said earlier. You know, it's directly related to what is happening. You know, it's like, again, knowing each other, like as a male, female, man, woman, and those energy. And
thanks for the likes, Craig.
It is interesting, Tef, what you said, because you explained where some things come from, which is interesting, like how you are like this about the talking energy, and what can we do, because we have those conversations with Kayla earlier. What can we do? What can we change? I think it's happening now, like creating those new spaces to better deal with talking energy, like learn each other to listen, to how to better circulate the energy about listening, talking, listening, and try to most of us get out of the energy. I saw hearing you, Tef, when you just mentioned it, you speak out about you. I'm gonna just paraphrase a little bit. You hate human beings because of this, because of that, because of this. I'm in this process myself, like since many years. I'm gonna say it another way, but you're not the only person that speak up like this with these specific topics about, which is really interesting, because you just revealed that I'm a horrible human being, and it's interesting because we are in a certain level, like we hate ourselves like a human beings, because we are facing huge challenging about what we're doing to this planet. Again, it's reflecting to us, and vice versa. It's like a vicious, spiral. And the thing is, I'm working on myself in those very deep topic. Like I'm daily facing and challenging myself about losing faith to humankind. I'm losing faith to humankind. Like sometimes I'm waking up and saying, I'm done with human being, because I'm just watching the news, what's happening, but I cannot, cut this connection about what human beings doing on this planet. But at the same time, I need to get out of this, but I will finish just quickly. And I'm just learning to reconnect to this planet, to better reconnect with human beings by learning to listening, by learning to, feeling the complex feeling of the Elise, Sam, you, and Kyla, and other person. But it's a long time learning to listen, because I was like you, I was just in the need to talk tough and loud and cut the conversation, and because it's like the competition, as we talk about this word crafting and this this model of interacting. And the thing is, as I mentioned, how to get out of this, it was really interesting.
Yeah. Something I find interesting that you just said is like, you use the word humankind again and again and again. Like, I hate the humankind. I don't like the humankind. I've like de-force the humankind. Like, I shall admit, I was back in the beginning of 2019. I was like, yeah, humankind is horrible. I'm just gonna lock myself up. But I shall admit, thanks to COVID-19 and the beginning of 2020, where I actually got to lock myself up and actually get time to actually be alone, I learned that one, I cannot function when there's too many people around, because I'm an introvert instead of an extrovert. Like, this amount that we are now, like 4, is like a perfect amount of me for me. Anything more and I start to get wonky, and that is sad enough true. But like, I've also learned just because there's many people does not mean I need to hate them. Because that's something I did before, was like, when there's too many people, I just start hating them all, no matter who they were, even my own family. Because like, I did not had the proper understanding of who to hate, what to love, because there was too much about anything. Now, after I've come to terms with myself, I can be like, okay, hold tight. I do not hate humankind. I just hate some people. That was just me trying to figure out how to speak that properly. Like, I have learned that it does not help to hate everyone at once, because sometimes you find those golden people between them. Like just through 2020 and 2021, I have met people like Ingrediology, Iris Kate, Elise. I have met people physically, like my restaurant boss. I have like this local photographer that I've been hanging out with from time to time. I've also met a lovely waiter that like I have a lot of respect for, even though he drives me crazy at times. But I have also met people that I have just been like, you know what? You do you, and I will hate you for you do you, but you still do you. And I've given them the space to be annoying in their own way, and I've just been like, fine, I'll just be sarcastic and horrible against you, but I will still do my duty and be responsible for what I have been taking upon myself.
Anthony, thank you for the follow.
So like, I found out it does not help to hate humankind, because you can still find awesome people within it.
I don't think it helps to hate individuals either.
That's right. True, it does not help, but sometimes you need to have like an understanding of like what
you can
you
have
like
boundaries. Boundaries, maybe.
Yeah, and like if a boundary is like I don't like you.
Hey, Hannah.
Wow, that was a change of human being. Like a boundary can also be like, I cannot like you enough for you to enter my social circle. Like,
but that doesn't have to be hate. That's different than hate.
That was actually what I was trying to say, Elise. It's like, that is not the same as saying that you hate them, but you all will also find people where you like, they are so out of reach from what you like that they are over in more like dislike, that you are turning into a hate against them. And like, that is where we have like, back to troll school, there's some people that's coming into life and be like trolly, and you cannot figure out how the fuck do I work with those people, and then you just start to hate them, and then you do like I do, you start to ban them, because like banning everyone is the proper answer to solutions. If you don't like it, ban it. If they bully you, ban it. If they do something bad, ban it. And this is like a very insane joke I have with Elise, that like I ban everything.
Yeah, but even if you ban people, you still don't have to hate them.
Exactly, because like at the moment I ban them, I no longer need to think about them, so they can just be like, there's someone I banned.
Yeah,
there's
that's
somebody
healthy.
I used to know.
That's healthy.
And now they're just gone. And like when I then like sort them away and out, I can now start to focus on all the things I like, and all the people I love, and all those I have a desire to be together with, and be like, okay, I will have this positive energy and I will send it out to people and bring it to people, and hopefully they will be like, I like this positive energy, let me pick some of it up and maybe share something back again.
Thanks for the heart, Anthony.
And if not, I have lost some positivity and I will need to go and find something somewhere else.
Yeah, that's good, Tef. I like that. I'm sorry, I poked you about the hate thing, but I just like, I don't know if that's very healthy. I think it's a lot healthier what you just said about banning and boundaries, and Like, it's totally cool to think someone to be toxic or poisonous to you and for you to make that choice. Okay, I don't interact with the poison oak. I know what happens when I interact with the poison oak. Huh, Sam?
Yep.
Let me stay away from the poison oak.
Exactly, but
No, we need to rip it out of the ground and burn it
Oh,
and
shit!
not breathe in the smoke.
See?
I will say that
And I'm gonna do that instead of spraying poisonous chemicals all over.
But
need
it's
to
going to
ask.
grow again. New poison oak is always going to come around, you know?
No, you not if you rip it out of the ground.
would it not be better to like just take a big hole around it, dig it up, and put it in like an urn where it cannot spread out? Would that not be better and more safer? You will not need to burn stuff, which can be highly problematic because of forest fire.
No,
Like-
that's how we dispose of that kind of stuff.
Hey,
We do it during the
exclamation
winter
joy.
time when you
Welcome
don't have to worry
in.
about forest fires.
This is a virtual
But are
tea
you
party
not-
I do every Thursday.
I need to re-ask, Sam, how south do you
I'll
live?
introduce you to my
Are you
friends.
just as
This
south
guy
as
up here, his
Elise
name is
are, or are you
Teff.
more like
He's from
just as
Denmark.
north as I am?
The dude over here is
Yes,
Sam.
I don't know.
And then the last dude,
You don't
his
know.
name is Rudy.
Well,
Like
every
I
Thursday.
don't know the
We
like
drink
and
tea
you and
and
I
we, shoot
even
the
from
shit.
like a latitude perspective, like because of the way the Atlantic Gulf or the Atlantic jet stream works, it's totally not apples to apples.
These
let me
are
rephrase
our
the question.
avatars.
How close to Canada do you live?
I'm very, very far from Canada.
I can make my
Can
avatar
Can you,
dance.
can you get to Canada within 3 hours?
You see me dancing
Not even on an airplane.
right here. Dancing.
Okay,
I'm
good enough.
dancing.
Then you have two south.
Yeah,
That's fine.
burning stuff is the go-to way of disposing of that kind of stuff where I live, but not for another like month or so.
Yeah. Just
but
be really careful
regardless-
when you. Please
Regardless,
don't-
I'm gonna have to step out.
So you're bringing Hannah back in?
No, Hannah, I'm gonna go make dinner for Hannah, and then she and I are
Yeah,
going to
they
eat
need to
dinner.
have their dinner time. They need to have
And
their
and,
dinner.
and I'm gonna make grilled cheese and tomato soup, but I don't need the cheese grater. I'm gonna use the mandolin to slice the cheese.
Why?
Don't gotta worry about finding it.
Why?
I'm pretty sure I know where the mandolin is, but just in case, I'm sure Hannah will be able to find it.
Why do? Okay. Now I'm concerned about your cooking skills when you want to use the mandolin to slice up cheese.
It's only because the wire thing that I use to slice cheese usually broke.
Then you're not using it correctly.
No, it was just
But
old.
okay, I was concerned. I got an answer, and that's fine enough.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
not
just
gonna-
old, and we never actually replaced it. But
As I
That's
said,
right.
you did not use this correctly. If you do not replace the wire in a properly amount of time and keep it tightly locked up so you can be perfectly working.
right.
So, but I got an answer, and you shall be able to do with that in peace. I'm no longer like, I was just concerned that you only used the mandolin, and that was all.
I mean, the mandolin works very well. But anyways, before I go, I did want to apologize to you, Elise. You're 100% right, and my response there was out of line. So I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sam. That was beautiful. Like I wasn't expecting that, but it means a lot. You know, I just like wanted feelings validated. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and I definitely like did not do that.
Thank you, Sam.
No problem.
Enjoy
Have a
your
good night.
dinner. Love you all.
Bye.
Have a good dinner.
Yeah, you know, confrontational conversations they shouldn't be uncomfortable. Like, we should be comfortable to have them. So, I'm sorry that I always bring them to the table for y'all, but I think we all learn from them, right? Like, I think we have all learned. Today's been a very, very
That's what I-
educational.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said earlier. It is, you see, and it's happening, just after that, about the learning each other, like
Yeah.
to understand, the differences and it just happened after, and we were in it. So
Yeah.
And yes, we need to bring those uncomfortable situations to understand each other and see, get past through them and learn from it as quickly as possible. I mean, without judging and without, put the uncomfortable back, like backlashing things, and which is really interesting because yes, again, we just put it on the table like in the first conversation with Kyla about this. Remember that moment, the man women thing, the patriarchy, matriarchy, and and boom, and he had this situation like, okay, let's face it, quietly and with the frank words and thoughts and feelings
Yeah.
and yes, I
Hey,
mean,
Scotty,
yeah,
welcome in.
we're gonna learn, all of us,
We've had a very
about
controversial,
the
heated
experience. Like,
conversation
and
about
again, it's
patriarchy today.
those little changes happening because of the new spaces of conversation that would not be possible in the 10 years ago, 20 years ago, like even in real life, because it's something different. And maybe the distance and the virtual things can ease at a certain level and in a paradoxal way, which is interesting to use, like the way we use those tools. By the way, can we prove that it does have impact because of the cross stories, conversational, like with deep level topics that are effective, and we far away, which is the whatever happened tonight or this evening, this is better value instead of social networks like Facebook, TikTok. You can, from my perspective, understand you can it's almost impossible for having this conversation experience at home, whatever is happening inside. It's not possible for the reason for the troll. And by the way, your example experience is interesting about the troll, like, but nowadays what we observe in Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, those stuff, it's not impossible for having this kind of conversation for me, which is the future. But to better understand, mankind definition, like what can we do better for ourselves instead of pretending huge stuff. And it's happening, it's happening right now. For me, the change, it's we doing it in a certain way. Maybe it's very little, but it's happening. So this is the huge value I take from this.
Yeah, it's huge. We are in a very unique situation for so many reasons. Like, this conversation and these types of conversations are like not happening anywhere. Like, this is very unique. One, because you have people like Kayla and I who do have the privilege of like having a voice and like knowing how to articulate our voice. And this is very common with like the Black Lives Matter movement, what started in North America. And, people in Europe are questioning, they're like, oh, well, racism must only exist in the United States because look at them, they're having protests and all that. And it's like, no, it's not only happening in the United States. It's just in the United States, people are having a stronger voice. They're having that platform to talk about things versus not talking about things. And so it's the same thing with women in the United States because Tef, like, I don't know how it is, like, among your peers, like, had you ever heard a woman, like, say what I said to you and, like, call that out so quick like that? Like, that's not common. Like, even here in the US, 5 years ago, if I would have done something like what I did there, I would have been like freaking shamed by the whole group. Sam's immediate reaction to me would have been everybody's reaction, and they would have told me to chill the fuck out and stop being a pussy. Like, that's what it would have happened. But the environment is very unique, and then this technology platform that we're using right now is also very unique, that gives that vulnerability and comfort for us to have these very like direct conversations. And then the streaming is like another meta level of getting this unique conversation and experience out to other people that normally would never have known that this is a nuance that women think about. So thank you for letting me have a voice.
Well, it's better for you to have a voice than I need to learn sign language. But like having a voice also means that you have responsibilities that you need to understand. Like, because by having a voice, you are impacting people, you are affecting people, you are
Hi,
making them
Aaron. Welcome
think
in.
about
Nice
something.
to meet you. You're gone.
So like, speaking up about something is very good, but sometimes you also, to be a strong voice, you also need to know when to actually shut up and don't talk.
Careful, Tef. Careful.
Because sometimes when you talk too much, you actually can end up harming your own idea of something you want to bring out.
Yeah, Tef, you're doing it to yourself right now as we speak.
Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out. It's not about shutting up forever. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, if you want to eat a cookie, but you also want to promote health, then it does not help that you like go really hard on health, because you should also allow people to get the cookie if they want. Like talking about health, it's good, but banning cookie is not. To keep it very simple, like people also need to understand that there's possibilities, and so long there's possibilities, there's way to work, because there is no the only golden rule I know is that there is no golden rule, and that's like self saying against itself. I know that, but like there's a lot of possibilities out in the world. Nobody
Thanks for the
is
nice,
saying
Anthony.
that like to be honest, racist. I'm gonna do something horrible now.
Good luck, Tef.
And like it's a conversation we can take another time. But like, to be honest, why is racism not bad? Like, it could be good. It could be healthy for our society. And like, it could be basically. It could in theory be, but we have just not taken it to the point where we have actually figured out.
Oh no, Tef. Oh no.
As I'm saying, we are not going to talk about it today.
But
But
why
just
did you
like-
bring it up? Why? Okay, like, can we talk about why you brought it up then, at least?
Well, yeah,
Like, what's your
we
reasoning
can do
behind that?
The idea is like we want to go to a perfect. We want to go to this utopia world where everyone is good and having a great time. But I'll now want to ask, what is the utopia world? What is having a good time? What is your take on that, Elise? What is your utopia world?
Autonomy and, just everybody. Yeah, autonomy is the main thing. Respect, autonomy, and love. But the definition of racism, you understand, is discrimination against somebody based on the color of their skin. That's the definition of racism. So I really don't see in any angle or any perspective how that could be good. I don't.
Neither do I. But somebody
So
else
why'd you
might
say
do
it? Why did you say it?
But like, I want to like, we can take that in a moment, Elise.
Okay.
But you said that your utopia is love, respect, and
Autonomy.
autonomy. Okay, those are 3 words. Rudy, are your utopia those 3 words? Is it love? Is it respect and autonomy? Is that your utopia world?
Oh, it obviously is different, but I
Thank
think
you.
it's different for
That-
sure.
That's basically all you needed to. What I needed you to say. Like I
But,
will let you.
Oh
but
my goodness.
Just
But
by you
I
saying
want-
The big white
that
guy
is
is
different.
teaching us
That
how
is
it's
the
all
key.
done.
And now tell me what is the difference.
Yes, but before that, I can't hear that what you say about racism could be good. It's really tough to hear. But no.
Hey, Lion,
I don't
Sexy
know.
Savage, welcome in. Nice to meet
How
you.
can
My
I
name
say
is
that?
Elise.
I
We are
don't know
having a
what
virtual
you've learned about
heated
racism history
tea
on
party.
Earth, but based on the concept, it's really hard to imagine that it could be good because the way racism just born in mankind understanding and vision of about that word, which is a huge thing. But we cannot have this conversation now because it's not a huge topic. But I'm really to just hear what you say. I can say now I sufficiently tough to hear what you say, but it took me a lot of time to understand and learn and to live and to experience what is racism. And I cannot conceive any perspective about how and why it could be good, even for the provocation and like to see. I kind of understand why you say that, but I'm sorry, it's not conceivable. But differences, here in my segue, differences for sure. It's something that is deeply rooted about human being relationship, based again on education. And if you mind, because we're talking about a lot of movies,
I'm gonna
I
do
hope
work
you
after this
see.
finish.
I'm
It'll
pretty
finish
sure
soon.
you've seen American History X movie with Edward Norton and James Furlong. I advise you to watch this movie because you're gonna see how far and how deep it says, and it means whatever the place in the world you are. Because again, it's something that we talked about poison, and I'm not talking about perfect world or perfect mankind relationship because differences make differences, right? And my goal about the utopian world, maybe dreamers, based on dreamers persons, based on, I might say, acceptance and
The exclamation point. Thanks for
connection
I appreciate you.
with Earth, which is
See you
really
next
important
time.
to me because to understand again how this planet works, we talk about reach the core. It's like the same thing with the core in our body because we are connected with this planet, but we are not well connected with this planet because we don't know how it works. So again, that's my dreamy expectations. Maybe I'm dreaming too much, which I'm really aware of that. Yes, because I'm kind of, learn day by day. I'm 47 years now, but I'm learning every day about human beings' reality. It's a long, long, long way to understand who we really are. We really are. But last point about the dreamy things. I'm deeply connected to the Star Wars definition of, if you look at Star Wars, something really interesting, there is intergalactic battles, wars, but if you look very, very closely, they are not based on skin color differences because you can see any different species that interacted together, never based on their racism things and differences about appearance. It's about connections, like dark side, light side, which is not. I'm open to that, but racism based on based on human beings, it's still sounding really primitive, which is something that I'm tired of. Like, we need to grow in our consciousness because it seems something very comfortable for certain person in the planet to stick in it because, again, Elise, it's related to a certain idea of power. And I was born and raised in Caribbean, and Caribbean islands are part of this story of racism deep in our skin, like so-called DNA, because if you look at the history of Caribbean islands, this is a cross path of domination, capitalism, mankind, trade and exploitation and all that stuff, and mingle people to make hierarchy based on color schemes. This is the true story. So I cannot hear this if racism could be a good thing. Never ever. That doesn't work. And it will be a mess for every type of humankind. Over and over again. Most of certain people with power try to do that in mankind history, and it always fails. So for me, that's my point. That's not a good thing. That's why we need to elevate our consciousness to understand, to get out of certain concepts that
Welcome in,
always failing.
Welcome.
That's my point.
You, Elise?
No, I just saying awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Rudy, and bringing it back to that power, that idea of power. Yeah. So when Kayla and I were saying fuck the patriarchy, like this is it. Like the idea that Tef is having, like the thing that he just said that like you're having trouble processing is like that's the patriarchy. That's it. Like. And it's easy resolvable. It's through conversations like this, Tef. And Tef, you're doing a really good job because we're totally putting you on the spot. Thank you for being patient and humble and, listening. We're really putting you on the spot.
I redeem huge reward for this afterwards.
Yeah, no, yeah, you got your reward right now. You got it, Tef. You got it. Just, continue to put the work in and just listen, Tef. Actually, you got to listen. Remember, you were the one that freaking said when you have a voice, you need to know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because like exactly because like you are like
he keeps talking.
Because like as I try to state with this utopia is like there is nothing that is the proper way to do things. So like there's a lot of differences, and we need, like I personally believe we need to accept differences and have space for them. And I shall be honest that like my question about racism is pretty good, the question, but that I used the word racism was bad of me. I could have used other words. I could actually have used the word capitalism instead. Is capitalism good? Some will say yes, and I could also ask, is capitalism bad? And other people will say yes. And that's like rethinking the idea of capitalism. Is it good or bad? That depends on the person of it. So like this idea of like coming out in the world and like interacting with it, it's different all the time. We have no proper rule to where do we need to fucking get. We all need to know where are we today and what do we want tomorrow. Because like in 50 years, who is still around, we don't fucking know. Right now, in this second, someone died. I don't know who they are. I don't know how they live. I don't know where in the world they are. But I know they died. Because human beings die and get born all the time so long we take care of life and like also work towards creating life. Which 2020 have been wonderful to do. Like there's been a huge baby boom. Here in 2021, hooray for that. There's also been like the opposite last year, but like I will let that rest. They need to get their peace of mind. But like for people to evolve and become better and like kind of get out of this patriotism, like we also need to like accept that some people are lazy at some points, but not in all points. We need to accept that some people have a strong voice and some people do not. We also know that some strong voices have a strong human being behind them that they are talking with. Like I have like this old mug from my childhood. I remember like behind any good dad is a strong mom. Like as you talked earlier about like many men in power have like a wife, and I shall admit, it's not just about having a wife. It's just about having a partner that you can rely upon, have trust within, having deep connection to, and have deep conversation to. That can make you a strong person because you have someone to reflect into and react to, and like can like put you on the spot and be like, you are a horrible human being. Do
All right,
better.
Tef, right now, Tef, you were just introduced to two very, very, very important, valuable learning lessons about feminism and about racism. And you are pretty much just completely changing the subject and rambling on about something unrelated. And so you want me to hold you accountable right now. I'm going to do it right now. Tef, you just need to listen. You just need to listen. You've said what you needed to say, and we've said what we needed to say. We don't need... There we go. See? There we go. See? It's easy. And it doesn't mean that you're going to like learn the lessons right away and you're going to like understand them right away. But like Rudy just explained, he has some very deep vulnerability with you. That was a big, Rudy, thank you for doing that. You did not have to do that work and you did it. And I appreciate that you did that. Just as I didn't have to express what I expressed, because it was uncomfortable. It's difficult. And then it's heartbreaking when the person you say it to just goes rambling on about something else as if they didn't even listen to you. So Tef, thank you. That's what I wanted to say. And again, I'm sorry we're putting you on the spot. I'm saying it's like public. I'm sorry, Tef, you're having a good sport about this. It's hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work, but it's good work. And it's awesome that we can do it. And, you know, with that, like, we could either change the subject or maybe we can close out the conversation. Because, Rudy, you've been here for a while. We've been talking for a while, so... And
yeah, I think I would love to stay, but I have to do some grocery. Oh my God! No, I'm okay. I mean, no, that's it's just having your like buffering time to do things quietly because I love to deal with time in a unique way. But thank you for the conversation, like the learning each other process and the honesty, and even if the tough topics. The thing is, as I said, we thank you, Tef, for at the same time to bring your thoughts with a lot of honesty and because that is even better the cross experiencing learning to step out of the things. And you see, Tef, I could react really like in a social network when you bring it out, your thought about racism, even it was your way, and I probably understand it. But as you mentioned, I just said prior that I'm sufficiently tough from inside to get those very sensitive points, because based on my 47 years old, I've learned a lot of things. I mean, I'm still learning, but this is the thing, the quality of the conversation based on the tough topics of mankind experience that we can have quietly in a peace and safe space, having those, cross opinion and with a lot of highly elevate honesty and respect energy, which is the most important thing for me, because again, it's the quality of the conversation, and that I'm learning on me today because of you guys at the same point, because I learned to listen. And I think the power above talk, which is essential to talk and raise the voice, particularly in our times. But at the same time, we need to take the whole benefits about the power to listen and the power of silence, because this is my hard work daily to learn to listen. But it's based on 40 years. And that I can relay about what Elise said about we need each other to learn to listen and to make happen the circulation of the energy, whatever the topic is. It can be really hot topics. Those exist. We can't deny it. But I'm sure that each of us gonna learn something really powerful going to bed tonight.
Yeah,
to tomorrow
Jeff put
to
his
learn
foot in
from
his
it
mouth.
and
I had to
to
take
raise
it out.
the bar, to elevate more and more the level of the conversation. This is again for me, the little things we're doing now participate to the change, and it's just us and around us, not waiting for Elon Musk to resolve those things, not waiting, but it's all of us, but starting something that different. So I'm going to rely to that word again, the differences, but the quality of the differences,
Stop. No,
and to step out together, like get out, those models, patriarchy, the economy, the capitalism, even we are within it, but trying to do something in a human level to see what is happening about those kind of conversation that couldn't happen even in real life. So that's my last point. But thank you again, all of you, because I'm happy, even it was at some point really tough, but it wasn't tough for the bad,
thank you for the
bad way,
3,000 fan noise.
and this is the power of learning and the value.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rudy. Awesome. Today was awesome. All right. Hey, have a nice grocery shopping. I hope you get all the freshest, best produce.
Oh yeah, I'm paying attention each time you choose the
See you, Rudy.
So have a good night, guys, and stay
right.
safe.
All right,
Be well.
safe.
Bye.
Bye. Bitcoin says bye. All right, Tef. I know that was uncomfortable, but thank you for letting us speak. I'm gonna go. I have some work I need to get to, and I've been here for quite some time. But Tef, we could definitely take the conversation offline. I think it would be healthy. Good.
We could do that.
That would be good. But Tef, I hope you have a good night or a good morning. What time is it?
10 minutes to 3 a.m.
Good
so
morning.
like I'm still gonna be alive. Like I have weekend. I can be awake for the next 20 hours if I want to. I'm not gonna be it. Like maximum 3 hours. I'm gonna be awake at least.
Yeah. Are you gonna,
at least 2, and then
do
I
some
might
streaming while you're on your break?
I actually plan to go stream tomorrow, later today my time.
Yeah.
Tomorrow your time. I actually plan to stream.
Mm-hmm.
I will see if I can get some cookies made.
Nice.
And then I will plan to do I will see if it's possible to do some puzzling on Saturday. I also plan to do an ERL stream on Saturday if I can make it work. So I might even, to be honest, we have this event on Saturday. It's super early and I actually hate it. But it is the Santa Claus lineup, where like a lot of Santa Clauses are just gonna walk through town.
Yeah.
And I was like, that could be interesting to like stream out to the world.
Yeah.
But like, as you know, my phone's camera is fucked, so like I need to find a way to do it properly.
Yeah.
So my plan, I have 2 plans. I don't know which one is gonna work or what's is gonna happen, but like one plan is that I tomorrow is gonna do some test streaming ERL in town, and then on Saturday I'm gonna do a proper ERL stream with the Santa Claus lineup. Even if they are gonna become small streams. Or I'm gonna do like a cooking stream tomorrow, and then I'm gonna do a gaming stream on Saturday. And in worst case, I'm gonna go and become part of PogoChan and ban them all.
Oh, you're gonna ban them all? Well, you better get Groot, because Groot's over here telling me that Tef, shut the hell up.
Yeah, I can understand. Like I should admit that the comment I made earlier might have made me seem like a racist. I don't consider myself a racist.
You should, Tef. You would be smart to do that.
But
I'm also racist, Tef. It's okay. I'm also racist. It's okay.
But I do fear that I have some racist point, but I'm not self-aware about where they are, because the amount of people with non-white skin tones is very low in the area where I live. So I have never really gotten the chance to actually react to like what is called a black society.
Yeah.
Like, because like they do not exist in the area I live in or like close by. The closest thing I have is an area where a lot of people that have been running away from war.
Yeah.
Basically, they've been like, so immigrants that have been running away from war, and I'm like, that's not the same. Like,
but it will become the same, you know, and those populations will increase and the problems will become first at hand for you. But you're right, because it's not like a daily experience for you to know these things. Yeah, but because of that, like, you know, the AI people that we do the conversations on Wednesday nights, they do all these like deep AI research of like sentiment around the world. They say that like European countries, especially Northern European countries, are the most racist countries in the world. It's not that they're like violently racist. It's not that like they hate people, but it's just like they just don't even have that experience. So they can't even relate to it or understand it. So it's understandable, Tef. But like listening, you know, that was a really unique opportunity you had to hear Rudy talk so openly about it, because a lot of other people could make the choice of just saying, oh, fuck Tef, he's racist, I'm out of here. And not even talking to you, you know?
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good.
And like, and that's why I'm like, also like, just let him talk. I do fear I let him talk too much. No,
you didn't, Tef. No, you didn't.
Like,
no, you didn't.
But I will need to explain that comment. Like, in that, if you talk too much, you might overrumble the brain with too much information, so it had a hard time understanding what it just heard.
Okay, well, you can think.
And that's what I fear happened between my Rudy, because like I understood that he told me something special, and I just want him to know that no matter how much he dreams, he can never dream too much.
So instead of you asking him more clarifying questions, you chose to talk over him. That's what happened, Tef. That's what happened.
I did that in the beginning.
No, you did that at the end as well. You did that at the end as well.
I did?
Yeah. It's okay. It's subtle.
I was not so aware of that, but that is a problem.
It's subtle. It's not violent. It is harmful, but it's not violent, and you can learn from it. But yeah, like in that situation, if someone unloads a lot of information on you and you can't process it, like it's totally cool to ask more clarifying questions, like, you know, instead of, because like what you did was just kind of change the subject, like focusing on one part of it and just like went on kind of a rant versus just saying, oh wow, that's like really intense what you just shared with me, because it was intense. He shared a deep thing that like not a lot of people do. But I think we should go, Tef.
Should we? Where should we go? Where should we go?
I gotta go to work. I gotta get some work done.
Why you need to work?
I need to get some work done. Tef, you can get ready for your streams tomorrow. Groot says go shopping. Groot says Tef,
I cannot go shopping in the middle of the night.
Don't worry, Groot is trolling me just as much as he's trolling you. Don't worry.
Yeah, but, I can ban Groot if you should.
All right, Tef, I hope you have a great rest and a nice couple of days off from work. Thanks for coming by and hanging out with us.
Hopefully see you on Monday.
Yeah, hopefully. I will. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh man, that was tough. That was tough. All right, do we have anybody here on Twitch? We have 2 people here. Anybody live we should go see? Anthony, thank you for the heart. That was a unique experience, for sure. That was unique. But not totally unique, you know. I feel bad that like Tef is the one that got put on the spot for that. I really do. All right, I'm just gonna stop the stream. It was easy for you, Groot, just to sit back and listen. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow for Best Life Friday. Have a good rest, everyone.